6 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Week 2 in the NFL comes to a close with the Falcons edging out the Eagles 22-21. Kirk Cousins needed 7 points with only a minute 39 to go as he hit Drake London from 7 yards out for the score. In the following drive, Jalen Hurts tossed an interception to Jesse Bates to seal it. Both NFC teams are 1-1 heading into Week 3. Injuries continue to mount up as the season progresses. Word on 2 top wide receivers for their respective teams in the NFC West. We'll start with Cooper Kupp, who left Sunday's game early with an ankle injury, is expected to miss an extended period of time and could possibly land on injured reserve per their head coach, Sean McVay. And the 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel suffered a calf strain on Sunday, and he will also miss a couple weeks from their head coach. And to the AFC West, where the Chiefs lose Isaiah Pacheco, expected to be sidelined for 6 to 8 weeks. In response, Chiefs are bringing in former running back Kareem Hunt back to Kansas City for a Tuesday visit. Hunt could help fill the Chiefs running back void. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Tuesday morning starts right now on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW 104.5 The Zone. On a beautiful morning, talking lots of college football and previewing the biggest matchup of the weekend, and it includes the Tennessee Volunteers. Looking back at the week that was in college football, Austin Price at 8:20, Ron Slay coming up at 9:20 this morning, 615-737-1045, the number. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh back at the controls. It is Tuesday, September the 17th. How are we doing?
Hey,
we're doing well. Are you guys awake today?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It took me a minute. I told Ramon when he walked in, it took me a minute to get up. That is very rare. I'm a very, what is it called?
Perky person in the morning?
It's like I wake up at the same time, regimented. I never set the alarm for another 10 minutes. Will, I set it for another 10 minutes a couple times today, I'm not going to lie.
I would be so scared to do that. Oh, my gosh. That would scare the heck out of me doing that. Well, I don't see how y'all do that. You snooze button, folks. I have no idea how you do it.
I now no longer set like 7 alarms when I wake up in the morning. I set 4.
Yeah.
And I put my phone across the room now.
Why across the? Oh, so you can't.
Makes me get up.
Yeah, you can't. Like,
it's not. It doesn't work, but I'm still going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Here, so.
Are you a sound alarm person or are you a buzz phone person? And my wife is a buzz phone person. Like,
I did not know those people existed.
It just vibrates?
I don't know why, but
I can't believe she can wake up like that.
But I think it's a low to high situation.
Oh, okay.
And it buzzes for like a long time on the countertop. And I'm like, what? Do you not? Like, what's going on here? I'd be scared again.
Awesome event last night for Jeffrey Simmons' first ever Foundations Give Him a Reason event. And hats off to him and everybody who helped put that together. We all went out there and had a good time and got to say hi to Jeff. And it was really cool. So
it was.
Really hope that can continue to build in the future for her.
It was. Some good old fashions out there, man. Some good people. It was a good time, man. I fully enjoyed myself, man. I appreciate that invite from him. And I know it's just going to get bigger and bigger from here on out, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We had somebody do not a drive by.
Oh, my gosh.
I would just keep rolling. Yep.
We had somebody
made the better choice.
Do a walk by last night, just spewing
during
all kind of
speech.
During his speech of all, and all it was somebody in Nashville that was just wanting to be intrusive and interrupt the event that was going on, and it was they basically said, "I hope all y'all get beat up in there," and I was just like, "You got the right room for that one." I promise you got the right attitude for this room, man. But nobody paid that person any mind, and
Except you right now. So I don't know.
But Moan was ready. Moan was ready to go if he wanted to jump over the patio.
All
at any
people
times.
doing them situations is want attention, man. And Jeff and everybody kept the speech going. I did chirp something out like,
You
come
did.
on.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Like, you don't want to mess with this crew.
Nah, you had the right crew. That's for sure about that one.
It was fun.
It was
Yeah.
fun.
Good time.
Appreciate that.
Robert Walsh is back.
What's up, Bert?
For all of the people who asked if the Raiders gave Robert an inexcused absence, this was an excused absence that had been planned. You are back now. Mentally, emotionally, where are we?
Hell.
Okay. Good.
Hell.
Good.
Not a great spot.
Great.
Oh, man. Did you say hi to my boy, Gardner Minshew?
I did say hello to him, and he was like,
Thank you.
"Oh, you work with Kayla?"
You give a,
Thank you.
you give a one-finger salute.
A one-finger salute.
I can't be mad at him. It ain't his fault. He's just doing his job, man.
So you're much better than me because if I saw Zach Eady on the street, he'd be like the guy in Proud Family. Like, he's so tall, you wouldn't be able to see half of him. He would just be out of the camera shot. I'd trip him so quickly. I hope he steps on sidewalk cracks every day of his life.
Unfortunately, I'm just slowly becoming the guy who hates the referees. Like,
okay.
I'm trying not to be that guy, and I don't think that's why we lost, but I do think there's a disproportionate amount of calls that are like, "Oh, that could have went the other way. Oh, that could have went the other way. Oh, that could have. Well, yeah, that game could have went the other way."
So you're like South Carolina fans this morning. Steve.
Correct. I'm leaning that way just a tad. Just a tad.
Fair enough.
We'll get into that one, but I had no idea the South Carolina.
What game were you watching? They had two pick sixes erased by very questionable calls.
And I got valid
South Carolina
arguments.
game.
I got a valid argument on the one that was called back, like the hit on the quarterback. I mean, that
can't happen.
That was idiotic.
No, that's not a penalty.
That was a penalty.
No, it's not.
That was 100%.
What happened was, I heard Josh Pate say this on his show this
What
week,
had
and
happened
we're going to
was-
get into
we'll have to
LSU
get
South
into
Carolina.
it.
Everyone watched Tua Tagovailoa get hit, and everyone had meetings like, all right, guys, we got to protect these quarterbacks.
Oh, my God.
That's 100% what happened because blocking a guy who can tackle your guy running back a pick six is not a penalty, and it never has been. This was not a dirty hit at legs. This was not a helmet-to-helmet hit. This was a block on a quarterback who is a tackler at that point, and it erased the South Carolina touchdown.
No.
I think South Carolina fans have every right to feel like they got that game stolen.
Absolutely no right to me.
Really?
Well, you didn't watch the game.
Do you
I
truly
did
think
watch the
LSU
game.
was the better
You
team?
didn't even
watched
know
that
there were
game.
controversial calls because you hate South Carolina so much.
I hate watching them. I wanted
Okay,
both of them
then
to
you don't
lose.
have a valid opinion.
I have a valid reason. You know why? The rule book says if you go backwards towards your end zone and hit somebody on their shoulder or blind side, that is a penalty.
They didn't call that though.
Yeah, what did they
didn't
call?
blindside block.
What did they
called
call?
like unnecessary roughness.
And it was.
It was not.
It's the exact
I'll
same
find the
call.
video.
100%. I saw the
I
video.
wish we could.
I saw
Crawford.
the play that happened. And you know what I did? I was like, that is the dumbest thing you can ever do. And that same guy is the same dude that jumped off sides on them. They shot themselves in the foot, man. Absolutely not,
disagree.
Will.
Going to bat
Absolutely
for
not.
LSU, huh?
They look, if they want to win, they need to be cleaner. I thought that was a terrible block by him in an unnecessary moment. He was going in for a kill shot. And in that moment, they said, okay, you want to be a real one in a bad moment, in a really good moment? Well, guess what? Take this penalty right here. That was dumb by
I'm
me.
looking at it right now. Nussmeier runs over. He literally just touches him in the shoulder.
No.
And Nussmeier falls down like he got shot by a sniper. I'm looking at the video
I'm gonna
right
go
now.
and relook at this.
Oh,
I'm literally pulling this
hell?
up right now.
I
We're watching
can't
this.
wait to
Show it to the
We're
crowd.
watching this.
Who's watching?
This is not a penalty.
What?
So
Okay,
Nussmeier
he
goes
attempts
back,
to
he
run,
looks,
and
takes
then
a couple
he
steps.
foul.
It's a hit in the shoulder.
No.
That's football.
That's a blind side block,
Mom.
Will.
Your weird hatred for South Carolina is
wanted
blinding
both
you.
of them to lose, man.
Blinding you.
I can't. Oh my
I
God,
wish
I
they
can't.
could both lose, but
Oh
you know.
my gosh, no! That's a silly defender doing
I
silly
care
things
zero
again.
about either
Why
of these
go after the
programs.
quarterback?
Because he can tackle your guy that's returning the
He
pick
was
six.
gonna be nowhere. He could have. He
was right there.
You know what?
Oh,
I hope
man.
your favorite team drafts him, and then he does that stupid
The
same
team
block
you
again.
work for?
I know, and I needed to say
Yeah,
that
relax.
real quick
Oh, my
because
gosh,
then it would be a
guys.
situation. It's like, why did he make that dumb decision? Well, he made the same dumb decision
in
in
this
college.
game, South Carolina had 13 penalties for 123 yards.
It was a.
Shane Beamer said after the game he had not sent any calls into the SEC office yet all season. He sent many in from this game.
Of course.
They did it to themselves.
There was a late hit as well on Nussmeier, or there was another late hit that was not called in this game. The horse collar tackle on Kyle Kennard, as again Nussmeier threw another pick six. That one was the right call, but it was an unfortunate play. It was interesting to say the least.
Between saying that wasn't a dirty play and the Kentucky bounce six, stop. It was a lot of coping this last weekend, man.
There's a lot of calls to the SEC.
I mean, what as far as them getting good calls?
No, about the coaches calling.
Oh man,
about
they'll be
officiating.
all right. Coach better is what I would tell them.
So I don't know what was going on.
Coach better.
It was not a good week for college football officiating. Between the butt targeting in Florida, Texas A&M, between the Oregon State ejection for a very bad targeting call, between Georgia, another really bad targeting call. It was.
Do you think that is really why, Will, because of the Tua stuff? Like that's for some of the actual quarterback
Absolutely,
hits?
I do. Absolutely. I think all those things are always related.
Yeah, I love conspiracy theories at times to hear them out.
I don't think that's conspiracy.
I don't believe that one.
It's bad optics to have a quarterback get hit and react the way that Tua did.
So
honestly,
there was a lot of self-inflicted things in that South Carolina game that took away from them. Like number 5 jumping off sides, that did it to him. Yep. And then also was he the same player that hit Nussmeier? Like there was absolutely no reasons for him to do those in that game. Like it absolutely was not. Yes, he's a runner in that point, but he caught him high around the shoulder neck area. That is a penalty. 7 days out of 7.
It's just not. I'm just going to disagree with you. It's really not.
They called it.
I know, but it was a bad call, in my opinion.
Not a bad. That was by far one of the
I've
most
never understood your South Carolina hate.
It ain't even on this one. It wasn't even hate. This one was just like a defender being dumb. Like it just was. Hey, Kayla, like I loved watching that crowd.
There are some teams, though, that we really do have some back hate for. But I do understand.
This one ain't even a
you're
hate
explaining your reasoning, and I understand. But I get both sides of this.
This ain't even a hate moment on this one.
It is.
I went from cheering from one to the other.
Can we just say that both teams kind of were sloppy and both teams, like, don't look.
This is why we have ties in soccer.
Great.
Sometimes no one deserves to win.
Right?
615-737-1045 is our number. A college football weekend recap for you coming up in just a few minutes. We'll talk South Carolina, LSU a bit more deeply. Georgia, Kentucky, and Texas A&M, Florida, where a Nashville kid might have just given the dagger to the Billy Napier era in Gainesville. Austin Price at 8:20 this morning. Going to talk a lot of Tennessee, Oklahoma today, as well as Ron Slay at 9:20. 615-737-1045. We'll recap the college football weekend for you coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. You deserve all the comforts of home, including endless hot water at your fingertips. Tankless water heaters powered by new recirculation systems save you energy, money, time, and space. Lee Company has a limited time offer of $750 off a tankless water heater when you purchase a new recirculation system. It's the kind of deal you get when you trust the folks at Lee Company, and they're going to make the deal even better for you. To make the heater even sweeter, qualified buyers receive 18 months of 0% financing. Take advantage of this offer today. Call my friends at League Company, 615-567-1000, or go to leaguecompany.com/promotions to get $750 off a tankless water heater. You hear me talk all the time about how these guys are who I trust. It's because they've got 80 years of experience. Since 1944, 14 community locations, 950 vehicles in their fleet. League Company, truly the best with what they do. 615-567-1000, online at leaguecompany.com. That's League Company, all you need.
Hey, week 3 of the NFL season is here, and you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Let's say you're new to FanDuel, never done this before, never signed up. Well, when you do, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, and that is guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's all, just $5. And you get $200 in bonus bets. How about for this week's Thursday night football game? We've got the Patriots and the Jets, and you can build a quick single game prop for Thursday night football. You could try the Ramondre Stevenson anytime touchdown. Breece Hall. Maybe you take him in over rushing yards. And Aaron Rodgers, just saw him right here in Nashville, Tennessee over the weekend. Maybe you take him in over passing yards. All you got to do, visit FanDuel.com/Kayla. That's FanDuel.com/Kayla to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Remember, must be 21 years and older and present in Tennessee to bet. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Tuesday morning, kicking off the show on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. You watch the show live on 104.5 The Zone TV. And it's Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Hop in the F&M Bank chat. You can talk with us there. 615-737-1045 is our number. We've got a lot of games to get to, guys, in the world of college football. Let's start, though, in Columbia, South Carolina, where aside from the referees, there was still a lot to get into from this game. LSU goes down 17-0, comes back and wins. What did we learn?
What did we learn? South Carolina got to get used to doing it, especially they don't have signals from the. Never mind. They did not steal signals. That's only allegedly. Okay. What we learned
Who's to say?
What they did in 2022. But here's what we learned. It takes a lot of focus and discipline to win in the SEC when it's good on good or it's close. South Carolina's a better team. I think people are going to give them credit for. I think they are more legit than I thought so. Shane Beamer's doing a really good job. That crowd was electric. But going up 17 points and then losing at home with that crowd, with College Game Day there, it is inexcusable almost in a sense with how they lost that game. And you got to be more disciplined. I think that's the biggest turning point, I think, from Shane Beamer. I think he's got all his players, and you can see it on the sideline.
Sure.
In the same boat with him, nobody's rocking it. Everybody's pulling and rolling in the same way. Shane Beamer's doing a really good job there. His defense always travels well, too. What you cannot have is this. We're talking about how they lost that game. Is this to me? Get my face on my iPad. There we go. Is this to me? Kyle Kennard. He had some really good plays. Still registered a sack and a half in that game. That was number 5 for that team that got the blindside block, at unsportsmanlike, whatever he got.
And the horse collar.
And the horse collar. The horse collar was bullcrap. I'll give you that.
And that was technically the right call, actually. That's the one I'm okay with.
I'm not okay with that one.
It's a new rule.
That's the opposite of
it's
you guys.
It's a new rule this year in college football.
The horse collar I'll say this. In the NFL, the rules that I know most, you can horse collar and the quarterback in the pocket. That's what happened to Will Levis on Sunday.
So the new rule in college football is that there can be a horse collar even if that player is not tackled. Mm-hmm. So Garrett Nussmeier was dragged back with the back of his jersey the way you typically would in a horse collar tackle, but he still got the ball out and was intercepted. It was returned for a touchdown, but then it came back again. The 2 pick sixes nullified, and that one technically, according to the people talking during the game, was correct.
Oh, well, all right then. That's news to me. That's
it was to me as well, and honestly, most college football fans, because they explained that mid-game of this is new.
Yeah, that wasn't very communicated.
Okay. Well, here's the thing.
I love the points of emphasis we learned when they happened for the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
This is also where the separating of losing set up South Carolina to drop this game, too. LSU was 43% on third down. They kept the ball moving. It also showed in their time of possession, too. I think it was 30. I had a second go. It was 32 minutes, 57 seconds to 27 and 3 seconds. South Carolina scored probably too quick and probably should have been more methodical with the ball. The other thing was this. South Carolina was 25% on third down. You got to continue drives. And, of course, when it's that close at home and LSU's a ranked team and are always good, 3 turnovers or 2. South Carolina had 3. LSU had 2.
Sloppy.
So South Carolina self-inflicted. They lost that game more than anything this past weekend. And I'll go back to you can't have boneheaded plays like that in big and highly anticipated chaotic crowd games like you did in Columbia this past weekend.
And look, I get it. It was a great environment, right?
It was awesome.
And I think you're right. I think a lot of people may not think of South Carolina as one of those power SEC programs. It's not, but they are building and there is good things going on there. The sloppy play cannot continue if you're going to have opportunities. And this was my biggest thing about this game, you guys. At the beginning of the season, I just wasn't full in on LSU, and I'll explain why in a second. But this was an opportunity for South Carolina to get LSU. Yeah. This was a chance. And unfortunately, like you said, some issues with sloppy play and penalties. And I know that, there were some calls that were questionable. Absolutely.
One specific.
Right.
Some say 2.
There were 3. There was a lot more than just that. There was an OPI call. There's a late hit. There's a lot.
By the way, their quarterback, Lenore Sellers, went out late in the game with an ankle injury. So there's things that had happened with South Carolina that altogether prevented them from not winning this game. But I have more of an issue, guys, with what I learned about LSU or what I didn't learn about LSU. I just don't know yet where Brian Kelly is at with this team in terms of bringing it back to pure relevance in the SEC. And there's a lot of pressure on this program because they won the national championship just a few years ago. So they expect that to continue. It's fresh in their minds. For me in this game, you guys, and I think Garrett Nussmeier is fine. I don't think there's anything to really come down on him on, especially when you're following a guy like Jaden Daniels. Yeah. That's a lot. However, I feel like in this game, there were some offensive play calling situations by Joe Sloan that I was a little bit questionable about. Specifically, I think it was the second half, 1st and goal on South Carolina's 2-yard line, and they get 0 points out of it. There's been some inconsistency with play calling, and then on the defensive side of the ball, I still don't think that they've taken the next step forward. After paying Blake Baker, their defensive coordinator, $2.5 million. He's the nation's highest paid assistant coach. And I just don't know if the defense has taken that big of a step yet. Look at some of the sloppy tackle play. I just feel like they have not taken the step to be the LSU we all expect them to be. And we'll see if that can change. They've got 2 cupcakes coming up in UCLA and South Alabama, but then you get into Bama, Ole Miss, and A&M. So you got to figure it out quick. And they did not look extraordinarily great in that game.
They brought over Bo Davis from Texas as well, the defensive line coach. I mean, they overhauled the entire defensive staff. To me, the tackling issues are proof that this is the worst LSU roster in a decade. Because according to the 247 talent composite, this is the worst LSU roster since they started doing 247 talent composites in 2015. Wow. They're the 9th best roster in college football. So they've been a top 10 roster every year for the last 10. To me, I don't think, and Kirk Herbstreit mentioned this on the broadcast, I thought it was interesting that they don't have the corners to play the style of defense Blake Baker wants to play yet. Like he had Chris Adams-Drain and Ennis Rakestraw last year at Missouri, who could sit out there on an island. You can load up the box. You can run that 3-3-5 kind of tight defense and allow athletes to just be everywhere in space and fly around to the football. But they don't have the kind of athletes who can fly around to the football, which is completely unacceptable at LSU.
I agree.
Completely unacceptable how bad that roster is.
I got 2 names for you real quick in that South Carolina LSU game. Dylan Stewart.
He's the next James Pierce.
Yeah. But in this game, just a fumble recovery.
Yeah, they were disruptive. It was more Kennard who was better in this game than it was Stewart kind of flashing, I guess. But, I mean, he was still active.
He was very much active. He was in and around. But the other name that I have, Emory Jones. 47 dropbacks, right tackle for LSU. 47 dropbacks, no pressures. And Dylan Stewart was mainly rushing off of his side.
He's better than Will Campbell in this game.
Hey, yeah, he was. If we're looking at tackles again next year, if we figure out what's going on, you're always getting better.
Groundhog Day.
Emory Jones, man.
Yeah.
Emory Jones. I'm just going to throw him out there. Yeah.
Also, I do like South Carolina's ground game. I mean, that looked pretty good.
South Carolina always does
solid,
that.
Yeah.
They run well. They'll get the ball up and down the field. It's just I laughed so hard when their fans were running down to storm the field.
Yeah, that was going to be one of the softest field stormings in recent
compared
memory.
To you know what over down in West End when that happened.
No, say it.
No,
say it,
not
Kayla.
Vandy.
Vandy
hadn't won an SEC game in what, like years
but
at
no,
home.
There was the one where they came down on the.
I mean, in terms of why you're storming the field, not in terms of like the actual field storming itself. South Carolina, you cannot storm the field as a 6-point underdog against the number 15 team in the country. It's ridiculous.
15 at the time.
South Carolina, we've got to have higher expectations here, guys. That to me is a field storming that says, well, we're not good enough to storm the field the rest of the season, so might as well get down there now.
Get it in.
Let me hold your bag, honey. Let's jump over the bushes. Jump over the hedges. Here we go.
I ain't gonna lie.
These kids just want anything to celebrate these days.
So
I'm telling
terrible.
That was so
they deserve to lose
anxious
for trying to storm the field against the number 16 team in the country.
Did they put a blanket over the hedges too? Was that what it was?
No. Go back and look at the video after the kick six of just sorority girls just falling into hedges at Auburn.
Oh, wow. That's entertaining.
It's a thing. No, it's very much a thing.
Because,
Tennessee used to have hedges. You guys used to have hedges behind those. Oh, yeah.
I don't remember. I never remember.
It's a big deal when they took them out.
Oh, dang.
Probably around the time you were there, honestly.
It's a lot of work.
One of those deal and renovations, they took out the hedges.
They took out the hedges there.
Speaking of hedges, Georgia goes to Lexington, beats Kentucky 13-12, and Mark Stoops is an idiot.
He is.
4th and 8, plus territory, 3:03 to go. I don't know if Mark Stoops is just actively auditioning to be the head coach at Iowa, which is his dream once Kirk Ferentz retires. It's a great way to do it.
It is.
Surrender punting against the number 1 team in the country. Georgia's now won 42 straight regular season games. But Mark Stoops says, we got to that point playing field position and playing defense. We had a chance to win that game just the way we played it. We came up a play or two short. I stand by that. You are not beating the number 1 team in the country by punting in plus territory.
No.
With 3 minutes to go.
No.
That's a bad decision.
Terrible.
Absolutely bad. And I know he's been he's sending officiating, question to the SEC as well. In this, I think it was the second quarter, was it, that Zion Childress's pick 6 was overturned, and I know that they were mad about that.
That was not a pick 6. That ball hit the ground and rolled in that moment right there. I don't know what they saw. What the best thing that they did was let the play unfold. They allowed Kentucky to actually let that play happen, see it, review it on the film, and it's clear. He had 2 hands all surrounding it, not under the football. It hit and rolled. That wasn't a pop 6, whatever it was,
and
right there.
And he's sending it to the office.
I hope he does. I look at that tape and send it right back. I send it back, like Michael Scott. I send it back.
The salad's on top, I send it back.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Were you guys, though, here's my question. Were you guys, though, kind of worried about Georgia's play in this game? Because if I'm Georgia in this game, and you're supposed to be, again, they dropped in the rankings. They are no longer the number 1 team in the country. Yeah. Texas overtook that spot, I think, specifically because of this situation in this game. I just thought when you look at 12 first downs, you guys.
This is what they do.
In the entire,
This is what they do.
Penalties were a little bit of an issue for them, not as much as we've seen from some of these other SEC teams over the weekend. So their third down efficiency not great.
3 years ago, they almost lost at Missouri in their first SEC road game.
Yeah.
Last year, they had a nail biter a little bit against Auburn on the road in their first SEC road game. I just think this is life of the SEC. It does not really tell me anything about Georgia, other than the fact that they still have the dudes to play this poorly and still win.
They're kind of slow burning team too.
Always.
They just, they kind of trap you and eat you and put you to the ground.
Kirby, they said it on the broadcast. Kirby acknowledged that they always get started slow in SEC road play. So this is something that they deal with. The problem is having Stoops feel like he can continue to play Georgia's game when he doesn't have Georgia's talent.
Right.
Yeah.
When he punted that ball away, it was at that point, it's like, all right, well, fellas, equipment crew, go ahead and start packing everything up. You can't out Georgia when Georgia does this. They're big, they're physical, they got players that can move the ball around the field. They got to figure out their wide receiving core as far as that goes, but as far as their ground game goes, this is what Georgia does. And Kentucky, you die on that field is what happens as a play caller. There's absolutely no way you don't go for it in that moment right there, and they chose to punt it.
Yeah, I thought it was impressive by a Kentucky defense that was not nearly as good against South Carolina. I'm so unimpressed by Brock Vandagriff. I'm really surprised.
He got a lot of hype too, I feel like, coming in.
I honestly don't think he did though at Kentucky. I think he got hype out of high school. I don't think anybody was talking about Brock Vandagriff this offseason.
That name carries with him, like you said, from high school. And I don't really know if I've seen anything from him.
He's not good.
He's not. He's one of those guys, man, that's fine. Just don't mess it up is the way I look at him. Is he a playmaking 5-star? Not that I can see. And the fact that they're not getting Barry and Brown involved more. I don't know what's going on there.
Firebird.
Yeah. He's a stud, though.
The only thing this game told me is that Mark Stoops is not as checked out at Kentucky as I thought he was.
Yeah.
The way you get embarrassed.
Just because of the fight that they put up?
No. I don't even look at it like that. This was the appropriate response from South Carolina to me. They got embarrassed.
And I didn't think they would have the appropriate response from South Carolina.
That's fair.
I thought he was 1 foot out the door. I mean, that he thought he had the Texas A&M job. It gets leaked out there that he doesn't actually have it.
Yep.
I thought he was out. And maybe not.
Do you think he passed on it, or you think they passed on him then?
I think Kentucky
because that's
made
what's
him stay.
interesting.
I think a job was put out there that he thought was a done deal that wasn't yet.
Well, they had a Tennessee moment. the social media caught wind of it, remember? Like, that was a crazy ordeal for him.
I think his camp put out there that he'd secured a job that he had not yet secured.
Yeah.
That reminds me.
Oh, you think that?
And then once the public reaction was what it was, they went in a different direction.
That happened to me when I covered Alabama back when they were hiring Saban. They hired supposedly Rich Rod, and that whole thing blew up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was kind of come over.
He
from
sat at
West
a press
Virginia.
conference and said, I will not be the next head coach in Alabama. And then
It's wild.
he was the next head coach in Alabama. Billy Napier will not be a head coach of Florida for very long.
Nope.
33-20. Texas A&M gets the win. Guys, Billy Napier has now lost 6 home games in a little more than 2 seasons at Florida. Steve Spurrier went 68-5 at home. Urban Meyer was 35-5. And NBA's Marcel Reed, the pride of Nashville, Tennessee, the son of former TSU head coach Rod Reed, 11-17, 178, 13 carries for 83, though. He was breaking ankles in a way that was just so disrespectful in this game. And I mean that in the most respectful way to Marcel Reed. He was disrespecting Florida defenders in the best way.
On Emmitt Smith Day, too.
In 4K.
Yes.
Ankles were getting taken in 4K
drawn up
in the
like
swamp.
that.
It was a beautiful display of taking full advantage of your moment right there.
was great.
Marcel Reed
It was awesome.
went the heck off, man. And again, you just had Florida players just looking lost. I thought they got beat up. At Texas A&M,
23-year-old defensive coordinator might be done as well at Florida.
Yeah, who's
that in
supposed to be a
its
new
own
guru?
Austin Armstrong. Well, he's not even calling plays anymore. It's Auburn's defensive coordinator from last season who's actually calling the plays now, which we learned during the game.
That's the issue. Florida, like Florida State, I'm sorry, y'all, but not sorry for you guys down there in the Sunshine State. That is a mess with those two programs. And Florida's the same thing. They're just as disjointed and discombobulated as Florida State is. Their team has given up on Florida just as much as Florida State has given up on their team. And you can see it in the play. You just said that, Ramon. You're exactly right. I mean, this is something where they don't even know what quarterback they really want to play. Graham Mertz, he played, a big chunk of it, but then DJ Lagway played. Anytime you have a situation like that with two quarterbacks and you've gotten to that point this early in the season, there's an issue.
Lagway looked like a freshman this time, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Neither of those guys, though, are stopping the run. A&M rushed for 310 yards in the swamp as a visiting team.
Yep, they knew what they were doing.
That should never happen at Florida.
It's embarrassing.
Ever. Florida held to 52 yards on the ground in this game. They are not tougher at all than they were last year, and they're supposed to be, and they're not.
I hope they keep Coach Napier there.
They won't.
He deserves another shot.
It's over.
Why
at this
is he
point,
even still there?
They got a lot
in the
of
season.
lot of figure out, a lot of ways to figure out how to get the money done. I mean, you've got to still do all the politics of firing a coach, but he's fired. He's done.
He's cool.
There ain't no way he comes back from this anymore. Speaking of Florida State, there was audio over the weekend of a very fitting ending to what has been an awful first 4 weeks of the season for the Florida State Seminoles. We'll play you just some incredible audio of a just ridiculous Mike Norvell press conference coming up next.
It's Ramon and Kayla here for Window Nation, letting you know through the month of September, man, you buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full calendar years, man. Did you know that most of your AC this summer probably leaked out? If you have old windows, your old inefficient windows will cost you hundreds of dollars a year in energy bills. So with this nicer weather on the way, it's a great time to replace those old inefficient windows with energy efficient ones from Window Nation, Kayla.
That is right. And you know what? All they do is windows. So they are considered the experts. Installed over 200,000 windows just last year. It's actually 40 times more than the average window company, and 96% of that requiring no follow-up service. So you get it done, and you get it done right. They have over 20,000 online positive reviews. So you can go ahead, check those out, or just take it from us that Window Nation is the place to call when you need new windows. and you want to save some money. So give them a call at 866-90Nation, or you can check out them online at windownation.com, where they are offering buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus no down payment, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. It's 866-90Nation.
Hey, what's going on? It's Will Bowling. It is the greatest time of the year again. You know it as well as I do. Kickoff is here in football. It's officially back. I want to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by competing on Underdog. I'm competing on Underdog. I'm loving it. You went up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats. That's touchdowns, passing yards, and more. Maybe you like Will Levis to bounce back this weekend at home. You take higher on his passing yards, higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's literally that easy. Making picks is so straightforward on Underdog, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code WILL, W-I-L-L, and Underdog will give you a free pick on your first Cash Champions entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code WILL, W-I-L-L, to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Tuesday morning continues at hour 1 on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We'll hear from Brian Callahan coming up here in 15 minutes. But guys, there is another press conference happening in college football over the weekend. It is not a good time to be a Florida State Seminole.
No.
Mike Norvell talking to the media, and after his loss to Memphis, his old employer, who they paid 7 figures to come beat them in Doak Campbell Stadium, this happens at the end of the press conference.
I tell it to teams all the time. Momentum takes one play. I mean, that's it. That's all it takes to change it. And we just, obviously have had some opportunities that that we needed to respond in those situations. But I think from their attitude, their approach, even there in the locker room, we're all disappointed. We continue to work and continue to pour into each other and the opportunity we have.
Pay no mind. There's no fire.
Oh, my gosh.
Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
Dude, that is great.
Fire alarm at the end of the press conference.
Perfect.
That's so good for him.
It's like there is a fire. There's a fire in Tallahassee. That program is burning to the ground.
Love it. Absolutely.
Is he on the hot seat?
Yes.
I don't think he is.
Why
Was that
not?
a joke? Hold on.
No.
Was that? Oh, I thought you were making a fire alarm joke because is he on the hot
It was
seat?
pretty hot seat. No, he's not on the hot seat.
Don't they for reasons.
Really?
He won 19 straight games.
Won 19 straight.
Well, right, wasn't it?
So you just think they got the quarterback wrong and that's all, and it's all said and done? And
I think
they'll
it's
move
that
on?
easy. I think it's that easy to get a transfer portal class wrong because transfer portal classes are so high or low.
How about
and he got it wrong.
him losing the team, though?
No.
Like after the first game? I
Well,
think he
they're
did.
0-3
He's got a lot
right
of
now.
transfers. That's what I
did.
mean. He's lost a lot of transfers.
But that's his decisions that he's
decisions.
making right there that set his organization
But you
up.
get
his
the
school
class
up.
right next year, and all of a sudden you could be 13-0
I
again.
think he's as hot as the devil right now.
No.
Will.
No, absolutely
He
not.
is he is tap dancing around
I
the
think
hot
that's
seat
an
right now.
overreaction.
Absolutely not, man. They paid Memphis $1.3 million to come there
His
and
old
just
team.
get beat by them. His old team, number one. You lose to Boston College, who immediately lost to an SEC opponent this past weekend, and you open up the season with a loss to Georgia Tech. Like, that loss is a 24-21, 28-13 by Boston College. And this past week, they got beat by 8 also. Like, that is flagrant. At home on top of that. Well, they weren't playing in the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. This is at home. It was so, you know how you know they're bad? Whenever they show the broadcast, and instead of showing the entire camera, they pan down to the
Down so
lower
that you
bowl.
can't see
there
everything.
was nobody.
Yeah. And
You say he's not on the hot seat. I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, he might not be hot, but there's a lot of money that's not being spent inside of that stadium. And when you mess with the money, you mess with everything else. And he's at a spot right now to where he picked the wrong quarterback. He has a team that's undisciplined, that's not playing well. That's a reflection of him.
So Sidney Williams in the F&M Bank chat is an FSU fan. He talks about the buyout
buyout
being
doesn't
too
matter.
much to get rid of him, but you can always find a
That
way.
never matters.
There's also construction going on in some parts
Yeah,
of that
that's why the stadium's half empty.
just to let you know that
Still
part. But still,
building
it isn't as loud. You just obviously opponents are not intimidated to go in there. And if you are Florida State, like you should be an intimidating place to go. And it's just not right now.
Memphis is also just
That's what I'm
good.
saying.
No,
Memphis
it is.
actually
Memphis
Which,
solid.
deserves
by the
a lot
way,
of credit.
is a shame that AP voters, I don't know who else gave them votes because people gave them votes. I gave them a vote this week. They're not in the top 25.
No.
It's a shame.
Trash.
They should be,
That's trash.
Yeah.
Future Pac-12 matchup between Florida
Yeah.
State and Memphis.
right?
I'm
For
just dead
real.
serious.
Yeah.
I know.
No, his seat is maybe starting to warm up, but I don't think it's hot at all.
Can we say this too? Yes, we can, because we got our names on the
Say
show.
it.
DJ Uiagalelei
Yeah.
is bad.
He stinks.
It's
I don't-
should have never left
At
Oregon
this point,
State.
though,
He bad.
it's on Mike Norvell not going to the Memphis kid, Brock Glenn. But this is interesting because, again, guys, we talk a lot about how college football coaches run practices like dictators.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
But
Mm-hmm.
Mike Norvell is not one of those. So I hope college football coaches pay attention to what's happening here because the way I understand it, media gets to watch all the practice at Florida State. And media are attesting to the fact that DJ Uiagalelei is the best quarterback in practice because they're there watching it.
Weird.
So Mike Norvell is actually getting help by the fact that media is there watching Brock Glenn not be as good as DJ Uiagalelei in practice. Like, I hope college football coaches are paying attention because us being at practice longer helps you.
Yeah,
I know. And it's been taken away. By the way, they play Cal. I believe, this weekend.
Yeah, this week.
If you've watched Cal a little bit this season, that's a good defense.
Yeah.
And so, good.
They got Auburn,
Cal's
didn't they?
going down to Florida State.
Did you see somebody said they have to rename the stadium Woke Campbell Stadium if Cal goes there and wins?
Oh, boy.
If you've not been on Cal Twitter since they beat Auburn, it is hilarious. Some of the memes that come out of that place.
Yeah, Kayla's like, get 'em.
Big ACC matchup in Woke Campbell Stadium.
I can't get over this fire alarm. Did anything ever like this happen to you before, Ramon, in a press conference?
Not in a press conference.
Oh, my, here we go.
Oh, God.
No, sorry, just ignore
I
that.
hated that so much.
I don't think I could talk.
Oh, please make that stop.
I will try to act like
I'm
it's
dead
not
serious. Please make this stop.
Did you do a tease like this? Did you toss it to break?
Cal's going to take a call.
Everyone,
We're taking a call. Turn off the alarm.
Please leave the building. Please leave the building.
That's the show.
That is a terrible
Micah
sound.
Nolensville, 615-737-1045. What's up, Micah? No.
All right, I want to talk some Vols, and there should be some fire alarms going off in Oklahoma because the Vols are going to put 50 on Oklahoma this week. They've done it the last 3 weeks, and they're going to do it again. Vols are putting 50 on Oklahoma. Nico's going to play great again, and it's going to be a good week for the Vols.
Go Vols, Micah.
There he is.
Oh, God.
You idiot.
Coming up, hour 2. Pay attention. There
I'm
is
not
no
coming
fire.
back. I am leaving the
Brian
building.
Callahan talks about how pressure is impacting Will Levis. There was no fire and might have been a little
Sound the
smoke
alarm.
for the Titans O-line. Coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster, Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. And the electrical side, if you do have smoke alarms in your house, Hiller can get over there and fix those too, okay? The ones that are super high up in your house for you high ceiling people, okay? But here's the thing, man. Well, you've heard me talk about Hiller a lot and how it feels like being a part of their family. Well, this month, Hiller is treating you like family too with the Friends and Family Savings event. Happy Hiller Club members save up to 25% off their first HVAC, plumbing, and electrical repair. And everyone else, guess what? They got something for you. You get 10% off. So present your coupon and save. You can go to happyhiller.com right now to download that coupon and get them over to your house ASAP.
Did you know that you can use your body's own healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get that real lasting pain relief? Hey, it's Kayla Anderson. I'm talking about advanced regenerative medicine, and it's at QC Kinetics. If you're tired of arthritic pain in your knees, your hips, your back, your shoulder, I experience it in my wrist that I broke back in college. This is something that will help. It's something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics, they're experts in these amazing treatments. People have had great results, and they're raving about them. You can enhance your joints, improve your mobility, and get back to doing the stuff that you love to do. And you don't have to experience the pain doing it. And you don't have to take drugs or surgery or have any downtime when it comes to it. Under the leadership of Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, QC Kinetics, they're the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough using cellular therapies. They've got tens and thousands of satisfied patients, and you can be one of them. Consultation totally free. So give them a call today and get the results that you want to get. 615-249-4024. QC Kinetics in Murfreesboro at 615-249-4024.
What's going on? 7:01. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Week 2 of the NFL season comes to a close as the Falcons edge out the Eagles 22-21. Kirk Cousins needed 7 points in only a minute 39 as he drove down the field, hit Drake London from 7 yards out for the score. In the following drive, Jalen Hurts tossed an interception to Jesse Bates to seal it. Both NFC teams are 1-1, headed into Week 3. Injuries mound up around the league. Word on the top two wide receivers for their respective teams in the NFC West. Cooper Kupp left Sunday's game with an ankle injury, expected to miss an extended period of time. Sean McVay says he could land on injured reserve. And 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel suffered a calf strain on Sunday. He will miss a couple weeks, according to head coach Kyle Shanahan. In the AFC West, Chiefs lose Isaiah Pacheco as he's expected to be sidelined 6 to 8 weeks. In response, bringing in former running back Kareem Hunt back to Kansas City for a workout today. Hunt could help fill the Chiefs running back void. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 and 7 a.m. here in Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome into your Tuesday morning here on RKW. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. Coming up in 15 minutes, our first preview of Tennessee, Oklahoma. It's going to be a big week for Vols fans in the college football world. I've noticed something different about Josh Heupel.
What's that?
We're going to talk about it coming up in 15 minutes.
Okay.
Looking forward to that. 615-737-1045 is our number. We'll give you a detailed breakdown of Tennessee, Kent State. Just break it all down. No, we're not going to do that.
I was about to say,
That's a long,
Absolutely.
71 points of it.
Yeah, since the show started this morning, Tennessee has kicked another onside kick against Kent State.
You know what my conversations have been started with this past week?
Huh.
Hey, go Vols. How about them 71?
Look at that.
That's all I've been saying, man. Hey, run up, get done
You
up.
start
is how I
every
feel about
conversation with Go Vols. Don't act like that just
It's
started.
very true.
Outscored their opponents 191 to 13 in 3 games.
Now it matters more.
Yeah, so we'll get to UT coming up here in just a few minutes. But Brian Callahan spoke to the media yesterday and talked about pressure impacting Will Levis. Lots of O-line talk, as is always the case here in Nashville. Here's the head coach yesterday talking about the pressure that has been put on his quarterback.
Well, the pressure impacts everything about playing quarterback. I mean, that's just what it is. We've got to do a better job there. I got to do a better job of trying to help those guys as best I can with the play calls and situations we're in. End of the game when you got to throw it. I mean, here it comes, and that's just what it is. And you got to be able to handle that. And we didn't do as good a job as I think we're capable of doing, and that's an area that has to improve. I think part of that affects the quarterback as well. I mean, it's all tied together. That's why football's a great game, is that you need everybody on offense doing their job, and for everything to look the way it's supposed to. And it's hard to overcome it if every other play there's one person that doesn't do it the way that we're supposed to. And I think we have a lot of that right now that we have to keep hammering and keep fixing so we can get all 11 guys doing things consistently.
And Brian did go on to add he liked where J.C. Latham and Peter Skoronski improved from week 1 to week 2. Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting mentioning that there's just 1 or 2 guys out of the 11 that are kind of ruining it for everyone else time and time again right now. Ramon, as you watch this offensive line, how many of these issues are fixable?
All of them at this point. I do want to see MPF give a little bit more. As far as, not saying that he's not trying, but I think there's another level of strain. Like, players have to learn that type of stuff. Like, you're doing good, but there's another level to actually achieve what we need as a team. Right. And that's what I think coaches are saying. I don't think he's calling nobody out, or I saw the narrative that he was down talking players or removing himself from responsibility yesterday in his press conference. I don't think that's true. I think it's fair to let the world know, the fan base know, hey, we're 1 or 2 players or plays away on each play or each series that we go out there. And that needs to be cleaned up. That is
anybody making that point you mentioned. It's just not listening. So
and he's always been transparent with it, but he's not right. Yeah. Like, Will, to answer your question, all of it's very fixable. It comes down to more reps and understanding the weight of each play.
Yeah, Ramon, you've said it time and time again. We've learned so much about the offensive line, since we've worked with you for almost 2 years now. And the one thing that always sticks in my brain is, especially when you have a young offensive line like they do, you have to give them some time in real live game action, not just in the preseason, not just in preseason games, to gel. And as long as you have one side that's more capable than the other, and you look at that left side as probably being the side that will end up being a little bit more solid this year, I think we'll be okay with Nicholas Petitfrere and Dylan Radins for the fact that they came in together late into camp working on that right side. That wasn't even formed at the beginning of camp. That was something that, they started to build that towards, the middle of camp. And then we're seeing in real game action, there's still a lot to be done on that side. So I'm not worried about it. And I think you still have to hang your hat on Bill Callahan being a coach that's going to do the right thing to help make adjustments. But it is also on those players, and it is also on the individuals like Nicholas Petitfrere. He cannot continue to have games like that where he's given up that much pressure.
If he plays the first half Sunday the way he did this game last week, are you making a change coming out of the halftime locker room at right tackle?
Nah.
I think you got to.
Who do you put in?
Literally anyone else. I'm dead serious.
I don't know if I would put in Jalen Duncan.
I would put in either Duncan or I would put Daniel Brunskill at right guard and say Dylan Radins. I know we talked about playing interior all offseason. You're a right tackle again, bud. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting Brunskill at right guard and Radins at right tackle.
I just think you finally get Dylan Radins, though, at one spot where he's been working and he's building confidence for once. And it's not going to be perfect. But then you switch him again. I just feel like that's a recipe for disaster.
But recipe for disaster is 9 pressures given up from your right tackle.
I don't think that'll happen again.
There has to be a little bit of an adjustment. Yeah, this is it. I mean, we also said it couldn't get any worse in the situation.
It is literally worse than any game statistically that Andre Dillard or Dennis Daly had the last 2 seasons. That is atrocious.
But see, this is what you'll have to do in this situation. You'll have to open it up to allow Jalen Duncan to realize you have an opportunity here, because the warning had to have been sent out this week. Like, hey, they're watching film and evaluating all yesterday and et cetera, et cetera. What has to happen now is he's on notice to that point. I don't think you make a change in game. You make a change the next week to where, hey, we'll be splitting reps this week at right tackle.
Right.
Like, there is a pathway, Will, to your point, to get better play out of either NPF or put a better player in. I just don't know if it's Jalen Duncan right now.
Then Brunskill and Radins is plan A for me.
Brunskill and Radins.
Brunskill at right guard and Dylan Radins at right tackle.
Are you milling
It's just too much
moving
shuffling. That's too much
Radins?
shuffling for me.
But if the shuffling can prevent the one turnstile that's ruining it for everyone else on the right side, then you do it.
But what we also have to realize is this, though, too, is one, holding onto the ball as long as he is, get the ball out of his hand. This is where you help him.
Yeah.
If we believe that halfway through camp, NPF came in and basically took this spot from the competition, from the committee who was competing at right tackle, then I also have to say this, too. You knew there was going to be a slow-to-go type of results with him. And with that being said, Coach Callahan also has to help him with the calls. The quarterback also has to get the ball out in these situations right here. They're chipping. They're doing everything you want. He's at the point to where now his professional side has to step up and play better. That's NPF's issues right now that he has going on. I'm not totally putting it all on him, although he has to help himself. And we acknowledged this yesterday. Levis does hold on to the ball, and they're dropping guys into coverage where his reads downfield have to be more concise and quicker.
Yeah, PFF actually gave him 2 of the sacks on his in terms of Levis taking those sacks, and I think credited MPF with 1 of those. Of course, not everybody goes by PFF, but just a note that it is sometimes Levis.
Yeah,
getting himself into those situations.
Yeah, he will. He'll have to figure it out.
By any account, NPF was the worst player the Titans had on the field.
Yeah, no one's
NFL Pro or PFF anything. Like it was.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Except for Levis's boneheaded mistake.
Yeah, I mean, but
Still
overall
NPF
play.
worse.
Yeah, I mean, Levis somewhat made that up.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're being real, in a sense, he helped make it up down the stretch and the extension of plays. And also this, too, we were down. We were on Levis heavy yesterday. That first half of his, though, is probably one of the better first halves I've seen. Better football games played in general from him. He spread the ball around to, I think, 8 different wide receivers. He was on time with his passes. He made smarter decisions. Like, I remember going to the broadcast and Mike Keefe, I was like, I think everybody and their mama have gotten a catch from him right now. And on top of that, the way Coach Callahan caught a flow of putting in, he put Brunskill in, and he also put Jalen Duncan in as extra tight ends. Yeah. Also, everybody that got a jersey this weekend, I feel like played and contributed to a point.
That's what's unfortunate, that we're not talking about that, Ramon.
I know.
And that's the point. We would be talking about maybe this offensive getting a flow. They got in the red zone. They were able to get points out of it. But then it was just abruptly screwed over because of the situation. And that's the sad part. You're right, Ramon, because I think there was a lot of good spots. And unfortunately, you make not just a mistake, you make the same mistake essentially as you did in that game one. Yeah. And then that flips the story. But yeah, I mean, there were good things to take from that.
I'm not out on MPF just yet because in my mind, I feel like he's just purely the best option there until he screws
right now. Yeah.
He did though Sunday. That's the thing.
One take though.
I know. I'm not totally out on him either. Yeah. I'm just giving you a plan B because
I'm with you.
In that building that they've already sat down and said, all right, what are we going to do if this happens again? Because 9 pressures and from your right side alone, and Will Levis is not making it through this season. No chance. No chance.
I just don't know what we're going to get out of Jalen Duncan. That's my biggest issue. And
I'm
not willing to throw him out there and put him at more risk when it comes down to protection of the quarterback.
Brunskill and Radens.
Well, or go
do John Ajuka.
Or stay ahead of the chains. That also did not help. And to your point, a lot of that was on him with the pressures and whatnot.
It was. He was awful.
I don't think it's going to, again, I know it can always be worse. I just think that is, with a Bill Callahan offensive line, you think he's going to tolerate that again? I feel like
it might not be up to him.
Then that's the thing. Then if NPF shows there was no, getting better in this next game against Green Bay on Sunday, then we have an issue to talk about, I think.
For the first time, NPF looks like the guy who missed most of the offseason.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the talk about him in the classroom, this ain't the classroom anymore.
No, it got real.
We're taking tests now.
It got real in Chicago for him.
Yeah.
And there's film to see what other teams have done against him.
We'll see if he corrected. He's on notice right now as far as his play. I don't think for his starting position, but he's on notice.
Maybe I'm being too negative, but I'm doubtful.
I'm okay with that.
I think you got to have another option ready to go. And I'm sure they do. 615-737-1045. A much more positive football story to talk about. Guys, I'm noticing a difference in Josh Heupel this year. And I like one element of today's, or of this weekend's matchup between Nico Iamaleava and the Oklahoma defense. We dive into the game that everyone's going to be talking about coming up next.
If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait, y'all. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for the treatment. For the established patients with stable T levels, they also offer convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come in for the weekly visits. And at Low T Center, your BMI health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
What's up? It's Will Bowling. You can join me at the new Tighten Up Tailgate presented by Gray and Dudley at the Bankers Alley Hotel. Sundays, every single home game. It is free. It is family friendly. It's a pregame tailgate downtown at 221 2nd Avenue in downtown Nashville. Easy walking distance from the stadium. Hope you come by and see us this Sunday. $30 game day valet parking rate for those attending the event, $20 if you choose to dine in at Gray and Dudley. Come and see us 221 2nd Avenue this Sunday before Titans and Packers at the all-new Tighten Up Tailgate, Gray and Dudley, the Bankers Alley Hotel. Tuesday morning continues on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and the biggest matchup in college football this weekend involves the Tennessee Volunteers. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, Josh Heupel speaking with the media yesterday. Guys, I'm noticing a difference in Josh Heupel this year. I think this guy has a level of confidence that we have never seen before in his team and in his program. And it makes me very calm about the atmosphere that Tennessee is walking into on Saturday. This was Josh Heupel talking with the media yesterday about Oklahoma and about the challenge that is upcoming for this team.
How comfortable are you with the Oklahoma questions this week? I know you like to focus so much on your team.
I thought I handled the first one really well. So I'm good with any question about Oklahoma. Like the opportunity that I got, from Bob and from Mike to come there and play, what we were able to build there in a short amount of time as a player. But then my coaching career from, the guys that I played for to all the coaches that were there during my career, all made a huge impact on me, and I wouldn't be here today at Tennessee if I didn't have all of those experiences. So tremendously grateful for all those people, and Brent is somebody that I learned and grew from as a young coach so much, and a ton of respect for him.
You hear him talking there about Bob Stoops, Mike Leach, who he was coached by, and then Brent Venables, obviously the now coach at Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Do you notice anything different? Am I off base? I think this is just a confident and quiet and poised Josh Heupel right now because he knows how good this football team is.
I don't think you're off because last year even I would have said if he was asked a question kind of more specifically about his background or the team that they're going up against, he might have put himself in a shell a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why the question was asked, are you okay with talking about Oklahoma? Because there is such a connection there, because he likes to focus so much about his team and keep that the focal point usually when he's preparing. So that right there in my eyes gave a little bit of a, hey, he's opening up a little in terms of feeling comfortable with what he has in these guys, that he's okay to talk about what he did at Oklahoma and what this means to him.
Well, I actually thought he took a little shot there, too, but I'm petty like that. I'm wired just a little bit more petty than most, man.
I don't think he's taken the bait to really give them any bulletin board
No, he
material.
didn't, but it's real subtle. It's like, I'm okay with answering anything about them. And I know Stoops backed
funny.
out.
Which is interesting to me, that he's not really running from any of these questions.
But because to him, I think he looks like the better guy in this situation more than anything. The way Stoops got on that pedestal at that podium and kind of just said it was, he said it was Heupel's fault. Look, we're making changes because Heupel and whoever, I forget who else he fired at that moment, aren't doing their
Jay
things.
Norvell, the now head coach at Colorado State.
Norvell, there we go. Who, by the way, is got a crazy attitude against Colorado, man.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Either way.
The whole team does, yeah.
The reason I think Heupel is better is three key people, Will, Kayla, to me in this situation. It's the year of the Dylan, so Dylan Sampson. I think Tim Banks and Nico Iamaleava. Those three individuals right there give you that type of confidence, Will. For this reason right here, like the surprise of what Tennessee's doing is they're running the heck out of the ball. Right now, the log for this team, 304 against Chat, 249 against NC State, who was ranked in the top 25 at the time, and 456, of course, against Kent State. The thing that happened is you did what you were supposed to do against these teams, and they all went to sleep by thinking you're going to pass, and you throw Dylan Sampson in there, who's averaging over 8. And last weekend, you had Deshaun Bishop averaging, I think, 17 yards a carry. And then on top of that, you have a stable quarterback that this is almost like you built a machine. You built a machine in a lab the way Nico is for him, I think. When you know that at the end of the day, I've taught him. I specifically went after him before anybody was talking about Nico Iamaleava on the West Coast and said, this is the type of guy I want. And I don't know what the price is for a guy like this. Screw it. We'll give him $8 million. If that's all true. He knew what he was going for. And at this point right here, you say to yourself, if he got the guy that he knows will listen and will make his offense look the way he wants and will not be selfish about getting his numbers because the run game come first, I'd be a whole lot of confident too right here, Will.
And drawing off of that really quick, he is a quarterback guy. Like, he was a quarterback, right? So his connection, we've had this conversation before, with quarterbacks is different. And he, I think, takes it upon himself to help really, truly develop these guys and wants them to not only succeed here, I think he wants to get them in the league. And he has been able to do that with 2 transfer quarterbacks. Clearly one, I think, a little bit more moldable to his system and Hendon Hooker than Joe Milton was. But Joe Milton, he's playing. He's a backup, right? He's still doing his thing. This, though, is his guy. He went out and was able to recruit this guy. And you take a lot of special pride in that, especially if you think he can be the dude. And I think he knows early on, like you were saying, he's composed. We'll see if he can handle, but I think he's going to be able to handle some of these bigger atmospheres just with how he's built in terms of his mind. And if that all hits, I think Josh Heupel he is comfortable. I think he's like, this is my guy.
It's the first time he's had an elite quarterback ever as a head coach. I mean, literally, he's never had a 5-star quarterback to work with, which is scary for everybody else.
I know. Q and F in the bank chat said, when is Squirrel going to have his day? That's the thing.
I don't think it's that kind of offense anymore where like one guy has to have his day. I think it's going to be one day it's going to be Brew McCoy. Another day it's going to be Dante Thornton. Another day it's going to be the tight ends. I don't think it's it's kind of the way Georgia is defensively, right? They play enough guys who are so good that on any given day, one of their 4 or 5-star ends can have 1 sack or 4 or the stats never jump out at you sometimes for championship level programs.
No.
Unless you've got a Marvin Harrison Jr. level guy, a lot of times it's by committee. So I don't know if Squirrel ever has that one day where he's got, 150 yards.
But to that same point, though, too, like, look at the guys that have had days since. Brazel has had a day, right? Yeah. Dante Thornton has had a day. We're watching the running backs and tight ends have a day. Heck, this past weekend, Mike Matthews finally got his day.
I think they have not shown anything yet.
And that's why
I think they take the governor off of this team offensively and defensively. Tennessee does not have a defensive lineman, guys, who's played more than 60 snaps this season. James Pierce doesn't even have a sack yet.
He's not unleashed yet.
And I think
for sure.
And I think Nico Iamaleava is going to be the kind of guy who thrives well in hostile environments. This was Nico over the summer talking about playing away from home.
I definitely love road games more than home games. I don't want to upset, our Neyland fans. I love playing in Neyland Stadium, but I feel like, away games, I just feel like all the odds are against you. Gives you a little more, just gives you a little bit more, that feeling that you get. Yeah, you could say focus. I think there's plenty of other words that you can use, but going on the road is something I've always loved to do since a young age. So.
Josh Heupel was asked about this yesterday. He commented more about it, and he said, I think Nico's personality will translate extremely well. And talked about how much he liked the way Nico carried himself in Charlotte against NC State. I am maybe overreacting, but I think Nico is got the perfect mindset to be a Heisman Trophy level quarterback because of how he handles games like this one. We haven't seen him do it yet. We've not seen him go to Oklahoma and win yet. So I could be singing a very different tune in exactly a week when we talk about this game. Sometimes you can get 5-star quarterbacks who are really good, arm talent, can throw on the run, athletic. But every once in a while, you get a guy who has a competitive mindset that matches his physical skills and gifts. Yeah. And I think Nico is that once in every 4 or 5 years kind of guy. I think Arch Manning probably is too, who goes beyond just the physical traits and gifts and gives you something extra that you either have or you don't. He's got it. Whatever it looks like on the road, we'll see. I think Nico's got it.
Let me bring up a name. And I know you guys, we might get the audience being like, what are you talking about? Because he just got benched in Carolina. But when Bryce Young played at Alabama, on the road in situations, there were a lot of traits about him where you didn't see him get shook a lot. Now, this is different in terms of he's not built like Nico Iamaleava. Those types of things will, probably translate better for Nico when it comes to being an NFL quarterback, as we're seeing before our eyes. But he did have that calmness about him when you get into a situation where he was feeling pressure or he made a bad play and he would just go to the sideline because it's going to happen, right? You're going to have bad plays and he'd shake it off. So I think Nico's even a level probably above that, and we'll see if that's going to be for sure. But I did want to bring up that kind of way that Bryce handled pressure, at least at the college level, because that's like similar to what I feel like Nico is in terms of handling and pressure.
Yeah, I can't ever crap on the Bryce Young college version at all.
Yeah.
Like what he did at Bama was special and unique. And here's the other thing you're speaking about these guys. Like to me, some guys are built to be villains. Mm-hmm. It's all right with that. When you also have a good team and you confident in your level of preparation and knowing that the team will support you. What has Nico actually done yet that you said he went out and won the game? This is a support system that he has right now. Again, you walk him into this situation and say, hey, I know you got it, but we don't need it right now.
I think that's the beauty of this team.
It is. Mm-hmm. They might need it this weekend for sure, especially if Oklahoma want to play keep away and with the ball and everything. Like he might have to make some plays. But here's the thing. We go from last year to this year and ask majority of this fan base and probably this coaching staff, are you confident Nico can make the plays?
Yeah.
95% going to say yeah. 95, just on the basis of what we've seen so far in the poise for it. And the fact that he's acknowledged, I'll go on the road. I don't mind. Mm-hmm. I think he's okay with being the villain, which is cool. He says,
I like that ever since I was a kid.
Yeah, I'm very confident in this team getting the job done. And you guys know that I have had battered Vol syndrome. I've need 50 cc's of sunshine and positivity for most of my life. Like I'm always the guy that just thinks like, oh, somebody's waiting right around the corner to just punch you in the gut as a Tennessee fan. I just don't feel that with this team.
Can I take some of it away, though? I want to.
What
I have
taking,
to be.
Taking confidence away
yeah,
or
just
taking
a little
negativity
bit.
away?
Or you
A little bit of
PTSD
confidence. I have to go at it because this is something that's bothered me with it, too.
Okay.
Jackson Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, running quarterback.
Yeah,
he can. If I'm not mistaken, he leads their team.
Leading rusher.
Yeah. Just last week, he had 14 carries for 97 yards on the ground.
You know where I immediately go? Tim Banks and his defense. Mm-hmm. Spencer Rattler extending plays.
Yep. Bryce Young extending plays.
Yes. Okay. Ole Miss 2022 extending plays, or 21.
Here's the thing, 21. Though. All those offensive lines that you're speaking of were also good enough. This one isn't.
They have to be able to box them in.
They're on their fourth center, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm 100, and they're supposed to get weapons back this week too at wide receiver.
Yeah, Nick Anderson and Andrell Anthony.
If you're gonna beat the Vols,
maybe
right. I think so. Anderson, right?
Anderson, I think, is definitely going to play. Farouk is the other one that probably will too. Jaleel Farouk.
If you're going to beat the Vols, you play keep away, and that's extending on third down. That's where you get them and keeping that offense on the side. The other issue is look, Tennessee can do that too by simply running the ball and scoring quick. Yeah. So that's my only issue. Seeing the Kenton Banks defense and the D-line can be disciplined and not overrunning because Jackson Arnold is their leading rusher. We just said that again. And he's one of the reasons why they beat Tulane last weekend and Houston too.
So Tim Banks' defense has given up 3 plays this year of 20-plus yards. You had Jermon McCoy become the first Tennessee player to stop a slant in what feels like 20 years over the weekend. I'm being sarcastic. Tennessee never stopped slants, but I think Jermon McCoy is doing a good job. But I think the challenge is Oklahoma taking the ball away because last season they were not great statistically against the pass, but Billy Bowman was third in college football with 6 interceptions. He already has one this year. Robert Spears-Jennings is excellent. And Danny Stutzman, you've heard me talk about all offseason, is one of the best inside linebackers in college football. This is a defense that can bend and not break, and they might be okay with being outgained by 200 yards in this game because they will like their opportunity to take it away from Tennessee after they sustain drives.
Yeah, they had 7 sacks on Mensa just last weekend.
Today,
the Tulane's quarterback.
Tulane was also scrambling, trying to compete. Mm-hmm. Like there's a level I think that Tulane isn't at. That
well, sure,
is going to show
but
up.
They
at
are
some
competitive.
Point. Yeah, no, I'm not saying they're not. But I think they're 2 rungs away from where actually Oklahoma is.
So both teams feel like they probably have an advantage on the front 7 against the offensive line. I think Tennessee's is significantly bigger than the proposed advantage that Oklahoma feels like it has up front defensively. But I just think this game comes down to, does Nico turn it over and lose his head a little bit in a really hostile environment? And I'm just not super worried about that.
So this is where I'm trying to capitalize my J into journalism job that I do. Okay, real quick, as I was listening to some podcasts, and here's what they say about it. So here's the thing that Oklahoma's going to have to run into is Tennessee keeps it simple. They get you out wide, and because of that, they put you in the base defense. And in base defense, Nico doesn't have to think.
Sure.
He does, but like you get a defense that might have some big players out there, and you know what you do at that point? Spread them out and run.
Just make the throws.
As soon as you shrink the box to go in there and stop the run, that's when he daggers you with a tight end or wide receivers down the field. And we've seen through 3 games so far with Nico, this is why Heupel to me is more confident. Nico can hit the deep shot.
Yes, he can, and it looks real good while he does it.
The timing is there.
The one to Chris Brazel on Saturday is one of the best throws I've ever seen.
He threw it before he got to his spot.
It was terrible defense. I mean, it's cover 4, and the guy lets a dude behind him. That should never, ever, ever, ever happen in cover 4. But
in those moments, if you say, if that person is terrible, what you supposed to do to them?
Exactly. You're supposed to expose that.
You're supposed to expose them.
I know.
Yeah, I'm just hammering down the point that it can be okay to be good.
I do think that this is the first time Tennessee will not be able to just run the football with the same amount of numbers in the box and always win. And that's the problem that's the challenge for Tennessee is that it's an Oklahoma defense averaging 77 yards per game on the ground. They've got a good run defense. Yeah. So if it's 6 versus 6 in the box, Tennessee's not going to win that matchup as consistently as maybe they have in the past, which means you're going to see Nico Iamaleava run the football more in this game than we have all season.
That part.
This is when the governor comes off. I saw Ari Wasserman of Andy and Ari and On 3, host with Andy Staples, our friend of the show, tweeted something to the effect of yesterday saying, this is when people stop laughing at Tennessee and rolling their eyes at Tennessee's rankings, he said. Word for word, Ari Wasserman of On 3. This is where the mess around and find out graph meets.
Mm-hmm. He's very high on
he's got Tennessee ranked number 2, I believe, or 3 right now, I believe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One last thing on Kent State before we move on. So I was in Baltimore this weekend and saw that Tennessee offered to have a running clock to keep the game shorter so they didn't have to keep playing. And this was the only thing I could think of.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Every time. It's
awesome.
like, I didn't hear no bell. They
literally decline. I love that. Tennessee paid a lot of money to get to run their stuff. So
I know. It's
they paid $1.9 million to run an onside kick.
It was 1.9?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And they got every bit of yes. Oh, yeah. And they got every bit of it.
Yeah, coach looks stressed, though. That coach from Kent State looks
wouldn't you be stressed?
615-737-1045, the number. Half? Coming up next, I did a projection on ESPN.com. They've got an ability where you can pick your team's wins and losses, and it'll tell you your chance to make the playoff and who you would play. We'll look at that for Tennessee coming up next.
Something awesome is happening at Genesis Diamonds. This Friday through Sunday, you've been hearing about this, all right? It's big. It's a 3-day designer engagement ring event showcasing the world's top 2 brands in bridal jewelry, Tacori and Verragio. Tacori from California, Verragio from New York, both here with their entire lines, including all new rings for this special event. You're going to explore hundreds of exquisite American-made designer rings. Plus, Genesis will have special incentives like 0 interest financing and up to $5,000 in instant savings. In addition, Genesis has an expanded selection of GIA certified diamonds for this 3-day event. All shapes, all sizes, rock bottom prices. This is the best of the best. Every Tacori ring is handcrafted by master artisans with exceptional quality, and every Verragio ring is made by hand with unmatched attention to detail. These are brands other jewelers only wish they could offer, but at Genesis, they have the entire Tacori and Verragio collections, and they'll all be on display this weekend. So don't miss the bridal jewelry luxury event of the year, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
RKW, Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Guys, I crunched some numbers.
Well,
Give them to us.
It's usually not a good thing when I am working my way around numbers, but I think you'll like these numbers.
And you go back and crunch them again?
Just crunch them. It's an office quote if you're unfamiliar. Most things I say are. ESPN's playoff predictor, guys, gives you the ability to look at playoff chances the way they currently have the FPI constructed. There are some fun things to tell you about what they have to say about Tennessee within this.
I love to hear.
And then there's also the ability of you pick their kind of toss-up games, who's going to win them, and if your team makes the conference championship, and it gives you a number on how likely you would be. Let's say, hypothetically, if Tennessee wins Saturday and goes 10-2.
Right.
So that's what I did. ESPN's playoff predictor says if Tennessee goes 10-2 with losses to Alabama and Georgia, they have an 89% chance to make the college football playoff.
Woo!
A 37% chance to host in Neyland Stadium in the first round. And their most likely matchup would be at Georgia. But that's okay.
It's so weird.
Because they would give Tennessee a 44% chance to win that game, actually, which is a lot higher than I would have expected. Tennessee right now has the fourth highest probability of making the playoff, according to ESPN.
Fourth highest in of all
teams?
All
of college football. Texas has a 91% chance.
Yep.
Alabama has an 84% chance. Ohio State has a 78% chance, and Tennessee has a 73% chance.
So Georgia
to make
just
the
went
college
down.
football playoff. Georgia and Ole Miss are tied at a 70% chance to make the playoff. Georgia's schedule, I would say, is harder than Tennessee's.
I think Georgia's hit a spot. Well, I think Kentucky hit a spot this past weekend to where, I ain't going to say it exposed Georgia, but you can play Georgia a certain type of way. Now, again, maybe that woke up the monster, the Kraken that Georgia is.
Sure did.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's where they are. Because they got a first-round quarterback. They always got a first-round defense. I'm just hoping what Kentucky showed us this past weekend was
that
somewhat the game plan. Yeah.
They can be beat. I think we always go into, at least the past couple of seasons, like, yeah, they're number one. Just put them at number one. They just can't be beat. Yeah. And it is those types of games, and I think that stuck with some of the votes this week, too, that put them at number two, that, well, there's some little cracks maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see, like you said, because they sometimes, most of the time, fix all of those. But Kentucky was not a good team coming into that game either.
Well, I didn't expect this from Kentucky. Here's my thing, though. I hate to be Bama this week for Georgia. Because the last time Georgia got knocked off, what was it? We were number one team in the country. And Georgia showed us why they were king of the hill.
They were mad.
They got one more week.
Is this a bye week this week? Well, yeah, it's the bye.
It's the 28th.
It's the 28th.
Even worse. Now they'll get even more time
get a
to
bye.
prepare for
it. Yeah, and I can't wait to hear recordings of Kirby cursing again at practice and disciplining everybody.
That's the thing, is that them moving down to number two was the best thing to happen to Kirby Smart.
Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they both have bye weeks. So now he can go back to his team and be like, hey, they don't believe in you.
Yeah.
They think you're washed up. We won 42 straight regular season games. That nobody believes in you.
Well, except for the Georgia PD.
That's what I was going to say. Just make sure in their bye week, nobody's getting pulled over or put in jail for reckless driving.
That is.
Let's just hope that it stays clean.
I'm just glad it's not us that got to see Georgia after this weekend until we figure out how real Georgia is. But Tennessee will, to your point, getting those odds. I love that life.
So the teams with the best chance to make the playoff right now, we gave you the top 6 there of Texas, Alabama, Ohio State, Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss. After that, you have Miami at a 53% chance. Looks like the class of the ACC. Then Oregon, 49%, Penn State, 48%, Missouri, 46%, Notre Dame, 38%, and the G5 team with the best odds is Boise State. And their Heisman candidate, Ashton Genty. Absolutely.
Which you better watch out, because Washington State and Boise State play in 2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
That's going to be it. Washington State is a good team.
Yeah,
I've watched
y'all
a
still
lot of them. Not
undefeated,
just
huh?
because I'm a Washington State.
No, you can say it's because you
it's a
went
good
there.
team. So, no, I mean,
They are
watch
pretty
the
solid.
team. I
Okay.
mean, they're going to play Boise State. That's going to be a great matchup. So, I don't know if Boise State will be that team when it's all said and done. It could be.
Ashton Genty's a dude.
He's solid, though, like that.
It's so much fun to watch.
I have yet to see. I've watched some of y'all games this past weekend, Washington State, Caleb, but I've yet to see Boise on film.
Boise State. Well,
Yeah,
it's hard to
Boise
watch
State.
because the field's so blue, it burns your eyes. But
I watched the Oregon game. It was fun.
Yeah, Oregon still has a little to prove to me, just a little. I know they waxed Oregon State this weekend, but I want to see what they do against real teams in the Big Ten this year.
They made a change at center, and they looked like a functioning offensive line
And that
again.
could be a help.
That might have been
sure.
the move. Might have been the move. 615-737-1045 is the number. I'm going to give Titans fans a little bit of good news when we come back. We've talked a lot about your quarterback. Let's talk about the other ones of the AFC South.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at Anthony Richardson, and I think suddenly you'll feel a little bit better about Will Levis. That's next.
It's Ramon Foster for United Structural Systems, man. They are a foundation repair and waterproofing company. Have served the Middle Tennessee area since 1994. They have more than 25,000 satisfied residential customers. And y'all know it's been hot and dry outside. So walk around your house and do you notice soil cracking or pulling away from your home, leaving holes or gaps next to the foundation? Are your bricks cracking, walls bowing, doors or windows sticking? These are all signs of possible foundation issues. Your house may be trying to tell you something. So go ahead and get that checked out before you start seeing those cracks up the wall and everything. And on the waterproofing side, up to 50% of the air you breathe on the first floor of your home is the air that came directly from your crawl space. Control moisture and create a healthier home for your family by encapsulating the crawl space. It is by far one of the best things you can do for your home. And again, I told you before, many repairs are guaranteed for the lifetime of your home. They're not like a company that's here to just trying to get some work out of you and the new guy and then they're gone and the warranty's gone too. No. USS has been here since 1994. We guarantee our best. Call USS at 615-488-7855 or online at USSTN.com.
What's going on? 8 o'clock on the dot. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Week 2 of the NFL schedule comes to a close with the Falcons edging out the Eagles 22-21. Kirk Cousins needed 7 points in only 1 minute and 39 seconds. He hit Drake London from 7 yards out. On the following drive, Jalen Hurts tossing an interception to Jesse Bates to seal it. Both NFC teams are now 1-1 heading into Week 3. Injuries continue to mount up as the season progresses. Word on 2 top wide receivers in their respective teams in the NFC West. We'll start with Cooper Kupp, who left Sunday's game with an ankle injury, is expected to miss an extended period of time, and the expectation is that he would land on injured reserve per head coach Sean McVay. And 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel suffering a calf strain on Sunday. He is going to miss a couple weeks. In the AFC West, Chiefs lose Isaiah Pacheco, is expected to be sidelined 6 to 8 weeks. In response, Chiefs are bringing back former running back Kareem Hunt to a visit. Hunt could help fill the Chiefs running back void. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW 104.5 The Zone rolls into the second half on your Tuesday morning. Ramon, Kayla, and Will with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. Robert Walsh is our producer. Austin Price of VolQuest will join us in just a few minutes, breaking down Tennessee and Oklahoma. The phone number 615-737-1045. And guys, I don't think the AFC South has very good quarterbacks.
Talk to me.
You might be right.
Overreaction or correct reaction, because Anthony Richardson stinks and Trevor Lawrence is just kind of meh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson against the Packers, 17 of 34, 204, 1 touchdown, 3 picks.
Yikes.
41.8 passer rating. The positive, if you're a Colts fan this morning, according to PFF, Richardson suffered the worst drop rate among his receivers, 15% drop rate. That is very high.
Butterfinger.
Led all quarterbacks in week 2. His 62.5 adjusted completion percentage, though, second worst in the NFL over the week. The negative guys, according to Next Gen Stats, Anthony Richardson against man coverage has more interceptions than completions.
Lord.
He has thrown 2 picks against man coverage. He has 1 completion. 6 of 16, Richardson, on passes over 10 yards. For 100 yards and 3 picks this season. So there's some positive news for Titans fans this morning.
Yeah. And that I was really, really mad at myself, y'all, because I took the Colts this weekend up in Green Bay because I'm sorry, Malik Willis. I didn't necessarily believe in you 100%, and I should have. Instead, I believed in false hope of what Anthony Richardson showed me in that first game. I know they didn't win that first game, but there were definitely signs that maybe Anthony Richardson had learned a little bit in how to operate this offense, be consistent. Because we always see the big throws, and that can suck you in.
Yep.
Oh, no. He proved me wrong. So I will not go back to believing in Anthony Richardson at any point that he is a good quarterback at this level.
We had these conversations a little bit last week. Well, yesterday on Monday about quarterbacking and what would you do? And the method in which a lot of these teams are using right now is, hey, buy cheap. Buy cheap right now for the quarterback position is drafting in the first round. If you believe in the stuff that you saw in college, man, I can make them better, right? It's always just like, hey, the old therapist girlfriend or something, hey, I can make you better. Or the boyfriend, like, hey, not that bad. With me, they're going to be awesome. No, sometimes we got to believe what they're showing us in college, man, because here's the thing about it, and that's almost for any quarterback. If it's guys to throw it, like one thing they knew about Brock Purdy coming out, I remember we were covering, He could throw the ball. He was a known thrower. We knew he could throw the ball. Matthew Stafford coming out of Georgia years back. He's a known thrower. He can throw the ball. Patrick Mahomes, the exact same thing. He's eccentric with the ball in his hands, and he can throw the ball. They get to the NFL and they do these exact same things. Here's the issue with Anthony Richardson. There's room for him to get better. Heck, his rookie year got canceled, etc. But at Florida, his completion percentages were 50% his freshman year. 59.4%. And then his last year, 53.8%. You know what his completion percentage is this year as a starting for the Indianapolis Colts? 49.1%.
Yeah, I was going to say it's under 50%.
He is who we thought he was.
49%.
49%. That right there is telling you a lot. Like, unless you're going to use a quarterback as a runner specifically, like, you got to take into account all the things that need to happen in the NFL. In the NFL, you have to be able to sling the ball around. And Anthony Richardson can throw it deep. All right, I'm thinking of Boobie Miles in the movie, and he can throw it. He can. But what is he doing in between plays? 2nd and 7, what is he doing? Unless you're about to run him, what are you doing in these situations? 49%, man. There's a dude right now sitting on the couch like, I could play for them. And you know what? He right at 49%.
That's the thing. It's just for Anthony Richardson, and I know it's not a huge body of work. He played less games than Will Levis did last year, but he has yet to shown us consistency, like you said, Ramon, with more of those short intermediate passes. We know he can go for the long ball. That's great, but you can't just play every game like that. And yeah, he's staying healthy 2 games in, but that's also something, you know, that they're going to run risk with this season, is they're going to run him, and there is going to be risk there. So, yeah, that I think Anthony Richardson is still out of the SEC or AFC South quarterbacks. I still think he's at the bottom, and maybe that's because we've just seen more out of Will Levis. That's besides the mistakes. I think we're looking past those, 2 mistakes. If I'm looking at this. And saying Will Levis maybe has a little more upside of trying to be more of a consistent quarterback than AR.
Richardson also fumbled twice, recovered both of them. So, I mean, the potential for 5 turnovers against the Packers defense over the weekend. I've never been a Richardson believer, ever.
Neither have I.
Ever. Watched too much of him in Florida just be inaccurate and not good. I mean, it's just incredible. He's another Joe Milton. He's more that than anything else.
Enough to keep you engaged.
Yeah, he could probably throw an orange really far. I just don't.
And it's funny because they're not talking about him right now. Like he got all the love, right?
Yeah.
But it's been very hush hush. And they have been, unfortunately, talking a lot about Will Levis.
No, well,
I mean, he's on every program.
He deserves it though.
No, I'm just saying it's for the wrong reasons.
Right.
But.
Yeah, he's memed himself. I mean, Richardson hasn't been like hilariously bad.
Yeah.
He's just been bad. Levis has unfortunately been like funny bad. Just the picture of him doing a surrender cobra while a guy's running a pick 6 pack. Like that's the kind of stuff that you get put on First Take for.
He's got another one too. People have been taking still shots of him, the ball coming out of his hand. It's like, if I send you this, just know I'm about to do something stupid.
Yeah. It's all over the place, right?
What are we doing, man?
Browns 18, Jags 13. I mean, you cannot be taken seriously as a team right now if you lose to Deshaun Watson at home. Yeah. They tried to name it Trevor Bank Stadium or Trevor Bank Field for this game.
Oh, no.
Trevor Lawrence responded by going 14 of 30 for 220 as the Jags lost for the 7th time in their last 8. Trevor Lawrence is under pressure 42% of the time. He dropped back to pass. They got O-line issues there.
Oh, yeah, they have. They've been reworking that, too.
It's only going to get tougher to protect Trevor Lawrence now because now you've paid Trevor Lawrence. That's the thing with Jacksonville. He still makes some unbelievable throws, Trevor Lawrence. Like, the arm talent is undeniable. The accuracy is undeniable. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, but I don't think he is the level that national media makes him out to be, who can take a bad supporting cast and make them good.
That's the problem. In my opinion, when you're a number 1 overall pick, that's the problem. When you're on your 2nd contract and you can't, make up for maybe some of the play that is not great in front of you, you're right. But you do have weapons still. You've changed staff. I understand that there's been some changes, but it was to be helpful, right? It was to help this offense. I just don't think Trevor Lawrence is that number one overall quarterback that we expected to take his team, to the playoffs in year 2 or whatever. He's gotten close, but then he's like digressed almost. And I don't know what that is. And he stepped to the podium the other day. He looked defeated. He was like, we just sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you say?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I don't know where his level is, where he can reach at this point. I don't know if I fully believe in him either.
14 for 30 for him also on this past weekend.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
Lord, Will.
Inefficient.
Comment on YouTube says, Will, you say the same about Malik Willis. So now I'm expecting Anthony Richardson to be successful, unlike your boy Levis, and Trevor Lawrence is trash too. Since when is Will Levis my boy?
Oh, my God.
Clearly, you were not listening to the show yesterday. If you think
you didn't listen to Will's initial draft response to Levis. Like, if you hey, Lamb, I know what you're doing. Like, I feel you. Like, it's cool to go at him, but you got to know the history of this one.
And by the way, Malik Willis throwing for 122 yards does not prove me wrong on Malik Willis.
Well, yeah, they were playing safe. I mean, they told him to play safe.
Threw for 120.
They ran the ball.
What are we doing?
They knew what they were doing. Matt LaFleur is smart.
He didn't lose the game. He didn't win it either.
I hate that we have to do this every time.
know.
I just do. But here's the thing, too, about Cleveland is, to me, that defense is still monstrous.
It
is. They are
absolutely
smart.
Jim Schwartz.
They'll go to the running game and let Deshaun be exactly what it is. Just be a show pony at this point. Like, if you can make plays with your legs and move around, because his decision-making has been sketchy at times, too. We had a good game this past weekend, but all in all, like, he's just there. He's just fine, is what Deshaun Watson has been.
Yeah.
Best thing he's done is reset the quarterback market for all quarterbacks at this point, who also, if it was reported correctly this past weekend, there is now a clause in his contract that they can get out of next year. And here's the thing, too. That also, to me, somewhat explains why he got that $34 million signing bonus. If I'm going to opt out of my contract or give you guys the power to opt out, then I need some money. That, to me, explains almost everything that they did for Deshaun, because they made no move after that.
Right.
I think that was negotiating.
Yeah, but when it comes to the AFC South quarterbacks, you guys, we came into the season saying, could it be a year where we're talking about these guys in a positive way? Like, there's some young guys that are doing some really good things. Unfortunately, it started off 2 games into the season where the only guy I feel like 100% I know who he is CJ Stroud. And all the other guys, I have so many different questions about who they are as a quarterback and how far they can get their team because of that.
Right now, there's one good quarterback in the AFC South that's playing well this year. This season, there's one great AFC South quarterback, and there's 3 guys. Coming up next, VolQuest Austin Price will join us. We'll preview Tennessee and Oklahoma, see if we learned anything from a 71-piece nugget meal that was eaten over the weekend against Kent State, and get the latest out of Knoxville with Austin Price coming up next.
If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait, y'all. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for the treatment. For the established patients with stable T levels, they also offer convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come in for the weekly visits. And at Low T Center, your BMI health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hour 3 continues on Ramon, Kayla, and Will talking Vols on a massive week for Tennessee football. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling, joined by our good friend Austin Price of VolQuest and On 3 at Austin Priceless, where you find him covering Tennessee athletics on Twitter. Austin, what's up?
Bowling, I'm not sure we can say we're good friends. Maybe Kayla and Ramon and I can.
How long have I known you, Austin? I was, 7 or 8 years old when I first met you? What the heck, man?
I'm playing. Look.
Unbelievable.
So he can't get invited to your Disney trips. Is that what you telling us, man?
What the heck?
After my chops about Disney. What y'all be at 1 week from Friday?
See, there we go. The fall visits is always worth it.
A round of golf in our future, at least. Unbelievable. VolQuest, awesome price. Austin, did we learn anything about Tennessee Saturday with 71 points and 450 yards rushing on the ground against Kent State over the weekend?
Well, we learned Kent State's terrible.
Yeah.
And we also learned that Tennessee is a mature enough football team to, get in, get out, take care of business, and beat a lowly Kent State team the way you're supposed to beat a lowly Kent State team. So through 3 games, Tennessee has done what they're supposed to do, and has, played really good football. Have they been perfect? No. But have they been really, really good? Yeah, they have. And, you can only play the teams that are on your schedule in front of you. And through 3 games, Tennessee has played as well as they possibly could, in my opinion, from a standpoint of, operation, getting in, doing what you're supposed to do. They can clean a few things up, which means there's room for improvement. But overall, I don't think you could, you couldn't have scripted a better start to the year for Tennessee's football team.
All right, well, that's all I need to cover on the orange and white game that was essentially played over the weekend. Austin, how big of a week is this for Josh Heupel behind the scenes? Because he's going to answer all the questions correctly in the media and put on the face, this isn't about him, it's about his football team. How different is this week for him, though, in your opinion?
I do think it's a bit different. I think it's a week that he's known was coming for a while, and I thought he handled himself way better than I would have ever imagined yesterday in the media, just kind of how loosey-goosey he was. He was cutting jokes about, the Oklahoma crowd, remaining kind of quiet and out of reverence for him. And, he had some fun with it. And, if the guy's tight, you sure couldn't tell it yesterday. And I think, he has so much love for a lot of people at Oklahoma, much like Peyton Manning loves, Max and Hawk and Frage and all the people behind the scenes. That's who Josh Heupel loves. He loves all the people that he's known for years at Oklahoma behind the scenes. And, getting a chance to see some of those old friends will be something that I think he'll embrace up to a certain point this weekend. And at a certain point, he will turn it off, and it will become focus, and it'll be all about, beating Oklahoma. Because, he knows that, a win this weekend, Tennessee takes a huge step to, the college football playoff probability.
Austin Price, a good friend from VolQuest on 3, joins us on RKW every Tuesday at this time. Austin, so the questions about Nico Iamaleava, I think now that you're going to go on the road for a real game in terms of an SEC environment, what have you learned about him over the past, 2 years he's been there and now actually playing that makes you think he's going to be ready for the big type of atmosphere?
Well, Nico obviously has talked about, dating back to the bowl game, how he likes road games more than home games. I don't think we'll truly know until he plays in a real road environment, but I think his demeanor is much more like Hendon Hooker. He is never too high, never too low. It's kind of even keel. I think all of that, helps a guy like Nico, in this football game. Again, you don't know till you get out there, how does Tennessee respond, or how does Nico respond if you throw an early pick and give Oklahoma a short field and they score a touchdown? Tennessee's defense hasn't given up a touchdown, dating back all the way to the Vanderbilt game, fourth quarter. And then, Nico, he threw a couple of picks against NC State, but Tennessee was never in doubt in any of those games. Mm-hmm. So, I just feel like, Tennessee's not hit that adversity yet on the season to know how they're going to respond. So I don't think any of us know how Nico will respond on the road until he actually gets out there. Again, it's easy to say you like those type games. It's easy to think Nico's demeanor is going to help him in these type games. But until he plays in one, nobody truly knows.
Austin, when it comes to these two defensive fronts for Oklahoma and Tennessee, I think both, played some really good football up front, and we haven't even seen, obviously the heart of the SEC schedule yet. But who has maybe the edge here coming into this game in terms of those fronts?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately Tennessee has the edge. And honestly, when I look at the matchup, Kayla, and you just look at it individually, like, tell me where Oklahoma's got the advantage when you start looking position by position. And so that's, I look at it and I'm like, oh, it's a road game. And I think some of the intangibles help Oklahoma. First road game for Tennessee, night game, exciting atmosphere, passionate fan base for Oklahoma. I think, obviously defensively, they're a good football team, but I'm not sure any part of their defense is better than the counterpart on Tennessee's offense. And so, like, when you look at it individually, it feels like, this is a game Tennessee should win. They are the favorite, but I mean, I think, when you look at like a path to victory for Oklahoma, I think it starts with, them taking advantage of a night crowd that could be raucous. Everybody's had a chance to, partake in a few drinks throughout the day and get rowdy. And I think that's where this thing starts for Oklahoma.
Austin Price of VolQuest and On 3 with us this morning. My friend specifically in this one, okay?
I appreciate that.
With that being said, Austin, one thing that I noticed this past weekend was Lance Hurd was not out there at left tackle. Where is this team at as far as health and guys' availability for this upcoming weekend?
Well, Ramon, my good friend, Tennessee is a healthy football team on the whole. I mean, Shamu Murad got a little dinged up Saturday. I saw him walking around the complex yesterday. What does that mean? I don't know. I mean, he did not seem to be walking around with any kind of like huge limp. Like, he's kind of struggled to get off under his own power the other night against Kent State. But again, Shamu Murad is a backup that Tennessee, isn't going to play unless there's injuries in front of it. The rest of the offensive line is healthy. Lance Hurd, I was told last week, could have played against Kent State, but there was no reason to, not when he kind of dinged up his ankle a little bit. Nothing high. It was a low deal, low ankle, and it's treat between, NC State and Oklahoma. He'll be fine. Again, could have played last week, but there was no reason to put him in a weird spot. So Tennessee on the whole is pretty healthy. I think Jordan Ross should be available for this game. We'll see about Cam Seldon. I think he'll be able to go, but most people thought he would be able to go last week, and then he wasn't able to go, coming off missing the NC State game. So we'll see what happens. But I think as far as key players, I don't think Tennessee's going to be without any of their key starters in this football game.
For sure. It's going to be necessary, too. And I brought up something earlier in our show about Tim Banks and his defense. And one thing that teams that have gotten have been, very comparable to the Vols as far as teams and rankings is mobile quarterbacks that you have boxed in and then they get those first downs on third is in long because a loss of responsibility, gap integrity. But Jackson Arnold can run, and that he's their leading rusher at Oklahoma, too. And I'm thinking immediately Spencer Rattler, Ole Miss, right? Running quarterbacks that extended drives. Where does this defense need to be this weekend, Austin, and the task that Tim Banks has for containing Jackson Arnold?
Yeah, I think Tennessee is going to have to, spy him to a degree, especially on third and longs, because, he can do what, Matt corralled that against Tennessee in 2021, which was extend drives by, picking up 3rd and 9 with his legs when, nothing's there and all of a sudden he's left with a lane to run. It's something that Tennessee's going to have to be mindful of. I think that's why somebody like Arion Carter, if he takes good angles, his athleticism and speed will negate, the ability for Jackson Arnold to, extend those drives and have those big plays with his legs. So I think this is an Arion Carter type game. I think this is where the young man from Nashville or Smyrna, has a real chance to, have an impact this weekend, because you're right. I mean, it's something that Tennessee has done a pretty good job of. You go back to the NC State game after, NC State went 3 for 3 on that opening drive. Tennessee finally got off the field. They were 0 for 14 after that, and I'm not thinking Oklahoma's going to be 0 for 14, but, I think Tennessee has to be able to get off the field on third down, a decent amount, or you allow Oklahoma to, 1, control the clock, keep it away from your offense, 2, it just puts them in a better position to be able to put points on the board. And so you got to, take advantage of the athleticism you have. You're the more athletic team. You are the more disruptive team, defensive front to offensive front for Oklahoma. And so you got to be able to expose them a little bit.
VolQuest Austin Price with us at Austin Priceless on Twitter, where you follow him covering Tennessee athletics. Austin, we've talked a lot this offseason about Tennessee earmarking a couple games to use Nico Iamaleava's legs and run him a little bit more. Do you see that being an element of the game plan Saturday?
I mean, it certainly could be, Will, but I mean, heck, he ran too much for my liking last week. Now, that was not designed.
Right.
that was
Yep.
him tucking and running when nothing was there. But I mean, he still has to be, very careful. Tennessee's a, banged up wrist or a sprained ankle away from, I think Gaston Moore would be fine to manage, out a game or so. But I mean, I just don't think you can depend on him for more than that, because teams, I think, start to scheme it up. So, I mean, I think you have to be careful how much you run Nico. But I think down in distance, spot in the game, I think you absolutely could see, them dial up something, kind of like they did against NC State when he had that, design quarterback keeper that went for, about 25-yard touchdown run.
So, Austin, I know Josh Heupel talked too about with Mike Matthews being healthy and getting out there, they were able to use their 4-wide package with him in the mix. Do you see that being something Tennessee uses more in SEC games? How big of an impact do you think Mike Matthews, the talented freshman receiver, makes moving forward?
They love Mike Matthews, and really they love Braylon Staley too, but Matthews is probably going to be one that, finds the field a little bit more this fall than Staley. And now that he's healthy, as long as the hamstring holds up. And so I do think that gives them the possibility to do some different stuff, just like the 2 tight end sets they ran against NC State. What you're seeing is Tennessee's offense, because of their depth and because of how they built the rooms, is all of a sudden a lot more versatile than it was even in 2022. And that's a scary sign, because that gives Joey Halsley and Josh Heupel a little bit more to work with. And so, it allows them to never be, one-dimensional or even two-dimensional. You can do 3 or 4 different things within the, I wouldn't say the form of a drive, because I don't think they do that, but, within the form of even a half, you can be different looks and cause the defense to really, I think, be back on their heels a little bit.
Austin, I was told that you were trending more to 11-1 season instead of a 10-2.
Well, same VolQuest chat. We're always there, Austin.
Austin, what has changed for you? Because Kayla and I would both love to know on this one.
We would both love to know this. I'm interested.
Well, I mean, I just think it's just Tennessee's defense is, I think Tennessee's corners are elite. I really like Ricky Gibson. I like Jermon McCoy. I think they're solid at safety. I don't think they're just like groundbreaking, but I think because what they are in the front 7, Keenan Peely stays healthy. What they are at corner, it masks a few deficiencies at safety, and so I just think Tennessee's defense, I knew it was going to be good. I'm not sure I thought it was going to be as good as it's been. Now, again, you've not really played anybody through 3 weeks. This is your first real test, but I just think up front Tennessee is elite, and I think that makes a world of difference. And let's face it, I think the offense, now that you've seen what the running backs are capable of, it's going to allow Nico to come along nicely. Not too much is going to have to be put on his shoulders. And so, that's the one thing. If I was Oklahoma, I would do Saturday night. I would put it on Nico's shoulders and say, young guy, if you can beat us, beat us. I would load the box. I wouldn't let Tennessee sit there and run the football on me, because when they're able to run the football like they have done to start the year, it's death by 7 and 8 and 9 yard pops. And, I would make Nico beat you with his arm, because, he obviously can, but, he threw a few squirrely ones against North Carolina State, and he threw a few squirrely ones against, even Kent State last weekend. So I think, again, continue to see him progress. I would put it on his shoulders. But, yeah, I think Tennessee's chances of going 11-1 improve dramatically if, obviously, if they can win Saturday.
Okay, well, the other part to that is then who's the one loss? Because I think we all assume it's Georgia, but, we spoke with Will, and he likes Alabama still this year and what they're trending in. And we also saw a performance from Georgia just recently this last weekend that didn't look great, but I know they're slow burners.
Yeah, it's still going to be Georgia for me. It's again, Georgia. When motivated, Georgia's still the best team in the country. It's easy to kind of we're going to go Kentucky. Look at the last 3 point totals for Georgia in Lexington. They're all similar, right? It's like 13, 15, 17. It's not like this was an outlier. They've done this a few times now. And so I guess for my liking, it still would be Georgia just because it's on the road. But then if you're Tennessee, you want that shot, right? You want to be sitting there undefeated going to Georgia like you were 2 years ago. And, what's the worst that can happen? You walk out there, I guess 9-1 with 2 games left against UTEP and Vandy. I think if you're Tennessee, that's kind of where you want to be. And, I think Tennessee's been really, really good at home under Josh Heupel, and I see no reason why that, they won't be favored to beat Alabama.
Let's go.
He is Austin Price, VolQuest on 3 at Austin Priceless. A must follow on Twitter if you are a Vols fan. Austin, thank you as always, sir. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Yes,
Thanks.
sir. Austin Price, confident.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, in Norman, Oklahoma this week. And why would you not be? ESPN's given him a 71% chance to win this game Saturday.
And you've told me when you hear Austin speak like this at times, or Hubs, who are super, I think they're conservative in how they think about the Vols. When they start speaking little things like that, then it's probably more true than not.
Right, because they're in that belt. They see what's going on
as
all the time.
As plugged in as anybody.
They'll know way more than they'll ever tell.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. When you're close to it, you see it a little bit more, for sure.
Let's catch up on the NFL headlines when we come back. There is a quarterback change in the NFL that shocked me yesterday and probably shocked you as well. We'll talk about Carolina and the Bryce Young conundrum coming up next.
What's going on, guys? Bert and Ramon here to tell you about North Point Roofing Systems. And if you ain't got a roof, you about to get one.
You are, man. If you know somebody that needs a new roof, or yourself need a new roof, man, go to northpointroofingsystems.com, man, and get into this contest. They're going to give up. Bert, when it's November 3rd, they're giving this thing away, man. What I'm telling you is this, is you can get in on a new roof, and y'all know they're expensive as heck whenever it comes down to it. Here's the thing about North Point Roofing Systems. They don't get on top of your roof, so you don't have to worry about them damaging it any further. They have this AI drone technology, man, and some of the best master elite roofers. As a matter of fact, GAF master elite roofers that can evaluate your roof, get on top of it, and give you a new one without all the handcuffs of how they go about it, all right? Get it done. It's one of those things you don't think about until it's too late. Simply go to northpointroofingsystems.com.
We're wrapping up hour 3 on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will this morning. We'll hit the Titans headlines coming up in 15 minutes as Brian Callahan met with the media yesterday. But Bryce Young is being benched in Carolina. Dave Canales declared the number 1 pick in last year's draft will be benched for Andy Dalton, noted nice guy. 23-year-old Bryce Young becomes the first quarterback selected number 1 overall in the common draft era. That is since 1967, boys and girls, to be benched for non-injury reasons in his second season. He posted a career-low 6.4 QBR in Sunday's 26-3 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. Robert Walsh, these are your people in the Carolinas. I need you to defend this decision for me.
They are my people, but not my team.
Okay.
That should be the Panthers logo. My people, but not my team. My
great.
state, not my team. I don't hate the decision because there's stuff that goes on in football teams that we have no idea about, right? And I almost wonder if this was a position where the offensive line had been much maligned for Carolina for a long time. The wide receiver position had been much maligned. Steve Smith left, and they had no one outside of DJ Moore. I wonder if they finally have the weapons. The offensive line doesn't look terrible, and the quarterback is the one holding back the offense. Dave Canales has a tough job to do, right, to ingrain himself and his scheme in this team. And if your quarterback can't get it done, you got to have somebody who can. And I don't think he was saying, or anyone is claiming, that Andy Dalton is going to be a world beater. Oh, the Panthers might be NFC South contenders now. I think they just need to get the ball moving. They just need to see the ball go through the uprights. They need to score a touchdown. And Bryce Young wasn't getting that done. Now, if they go back and practice and he sees Andy Dalton do some things like, oh, okay, I see why you do that, or I understand why you didn't hold the ball there, you just threw it away. Whatever the situation is, maybe that'll help him out. But it was not going to help him out if you kept throwing him out there and just sandblasting his face every week. Whether it was him holding the ball too long, him throwing stupid overthrows, he just was not getting it done on the field. So while it looks bad optically, everyone else saying, oh, he's a bust, he ain't going to be able to play anymore. What goes on outside that building doesn't mean nothing to nobody inside of that building. So let him get better. Let him get better silently, and then just to put a little rewind on us, remember what the public perception of Jordan Love. Now, this is not a Jordan Love situation. Jordan Love sat for 4 years. But the perception of Jordan Love before he played was that he was awful. This guy's terrible. Oh, this is the guy that they wanted, the heir apparent for Aaron Rodgers. He came in, they got him some weapons, homegrown offensive line, wide receivers, the whole list. And then he came in and played really well, so much so that people even thought that he could be an MVP candidate this year. So, not saying that Bryce Young is going to do any of those things, but that's the hope, right? The hope is that he would be able to sit and learn and listen and eventually pick it up and be a little bit better every week. Now, is he going to do those things? That's up to him. That's the kind of player he is. But I understand the decision, not to sit over here and monologue for 18 minutes.
No, but I can also see where people are side-eyeing it too, because David Tepper has had a history with being involved in decision-making. Yeah. And I think Dave Canales, we all expected him to come in as a guy that's worked with quarterbacks in the past, kind of like Brian Callahan working with quarterbacks in the past. He's inheriting this quarterback in Bryce Young. And so we thought maybe there would be some progression in terms of Bryce Young's play. I was looking at his stats from 2023, 11 touchdowns, 10 receptions. His completion rate was not even over 60%. It was 59.8. He's played just 2 games this year, you guys, but his completion rate is awful. It's 55.4%, 0 TDs. He has 3 INTs to start the season. So I can see where there is not the progress that you needed to see carrying over from last year with this new coach that's supposed to be more of a quarterback's coach. But I also can see that David Tepper has a short fuse. And when I heard Dave Canales talking about this yesterday, it was a little tough to see how it was completely his decision, because I felt like it wasn't convincing enough to make me think that, but maybe it is just a decision that it was his to move forward. But then that's also sticky, guys, because are you now pretty much saying Bryce Young is not the guy going forward? That's the biggest question I have, because he didn't really go into detail about it.
Well, I think there's more to Bryce Young. I think he's a heck of a talent. Body-wise, he's not an NFL quarterback just yet. He's small. Savage said it a while back. He's frail. Also, Dave Canales had to do this. He absolutely had to do this real quick because of this. if he doesn't succeed at this head coaching job right here, I don't know if he gets another one anytime soon. Nobody's going to come knocking on the door to come. So he's got to win. That's his issue right now. And Bryce Young, he's just not ready. He's got to get bigger. And I know a lot of people use that, well, it's just the way he's built. No, he can put on weight. He better figure
he's
that out.
He's not going to grow, but he can put on weight.
The height don't matter. Baker's about the same height as he is. But Baker's a whole lot thicker. Yeah, he's cooking right now. So Canales had to do this. Absolutely.
That is what Dave Canales told the media. He said, Andy Dalton gives us our best chance to win moving forward.
I think David Tepper saw that restaurant that ticked him off last time put another sign up. Hey, Matt Rule hadn't lost, Sam Darnold hadn't lost, Baker Mayfield hadn't lost, but Bryce Young's 0-2.
Yeah.
He installed a new sign just to stick it to David Tepper. Now I know that you're looking at these. Now that you came in here and took my hat off my head, I'm going to change my sign every week, dude.
Absolutely.
Bryce Young, the third player in the last 20 seasons to average 4 or fewer yards per dropback in 4 straight starts. He has 3 INTs, no touchdowns in 2 starts this year. They have converted 2 third downs into first downs the entire year in the first 2 weeks.
I think he does have a rushing touchdown, if that makes any of your fears quell a little bit.
Right?
But
that makes us feel so much better.
I still think it's a terrible decision. I totally understand your point, Ramon, that Dave Canales has to do this because he could be one and done. I totally get it and agree with it. But you are doing yourself a disservice as a franchise if you are not giving your number 1 overall pick every opportunity to turn it around himself.
And you think that'll be hard to go back on being like, hey,
I
Bryce,
don't
you're
think that's necessarily true. I don't think it's hard to go back. I just think you shouldn't go away to begin with. Like, there's a reason why this has never happened this quickly since 1967, where a number 1 overall pick quarterback, is benched this quickly. I think it's an awful decision.
I'm just surprised under a new head coach it is this way, because that, again, he inherited him. I get that, but he knows what he inherited, and he was probably brought on there again because he's kind of a quarterback guy. He's helped develop them. That's what surprises me, that it's only 2 games in.
Closest thing I think you compare it to is the Josh Rosen situation, and he ended up getting traded.
Oof, Josh Rosen.
Speaking of that, did y'all know Felipe Franks had moved to a tight end?
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea. Are you kidding?
He made a tackle this past game.
Florida?
Quarterback.
Former?
Who does he play for?
Carolina.
The Panthers.
That's wild.
He made
He's number
the shift.
84.
He made the shift to tight end when he was with Atlanta, and he did such a good job with it on Atlanta's practice squad that they brought him over.
Felipe Franks.
He literally beat Tennessee on a Hail Mary at quarterback.
Wow.
And now he's an NFL tight end like Tim Tebow.
I did not know it.
And smiling in his picture.
You see somebody posted a picture of Tim Tebow and said Travis Kelce ever since he started dating Taylor. And it was a picture of Tim Tebow with the Jags playing tight end.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, man. 4-year veteran, Felipe Franks,
Crazy.
tight end.
Dang.
The more you know.
Felipe, go off.
He was, at least one Florida quarterback was willing to move to tight end early in his career.
4 years in now. He figured it out.
What's next? Minor league baseball?
Tough.
The Syracuse Mets are calling, Felipe. Are you going to pick up the phone? You'll hear from Brad Callahan coming up next, 615-737-1045, talking about how pressure is impacting Will Levis and what the Titans can do about it next.
What's going on, guys? Ramon and Bird here for the original hot chicken. That's Prince's Hot Chicken. And listen, it ain't always going to be Victory Monday, and you can't always worry about fixing your team's offensive line. You got to worry about fixing dinner. But don't worry about it, because the original hot chicken's got you covered.
Hey, Bird, you mentioned fixing all them times, and I just want to tell them about all the fixings.
All them fixings.
All the fixings that Prince's Hot Chicken has, man. Well, you can get some classic mac and cheese, potato salad, and you know it's got to be done right. Baked beans, seasoned fries, grains, coleslaw, man. And don't forget the desserts. We can tell you about the chicken all day. Y'all know what the original is, man. It's always good, always the best in the city. Get to one of 5 locations around the city and get you and your people some Prince's Hot Chicken, man. For more information, visit princesshotchicken.com.
What's going on, guys? 9 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Week 2 of the NFL season came to a close with the Falcons edging out the Eagles 22-21. Kirk Cousins needed 7 points in only 1 minute 39 seconds, drove down the field, hit Drake London from 7 yards out. In the following drive, Jalen Hurts tossing an interception to Jesse Bates to seal it. Both NFC teams are 1-1 heading into Week 3. Injuries continue to mount up as the season progresses. Word on 2 top wide receivers for their respective teams in the NFC West. Cooper Kupp, who left Sunday's game early with an ankle injury, is expected to miss an extended period of time and could land on injured reserve per head coach Sean McVay. 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel suffering a calf strain on Sunday. He is going to miss a couple weeks. And in the AFC West, Chiefs lose Isaiah Pacheco. He's expected to be sidelined 6 to 8 weeks. And in response, the Chiefs are bringing back former running back Kareem Hunt to Kansas City for a workout. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW rolls into hour number 4. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling here on 104.5 The Zone. Download the 104.5 The Zone app. Take us wherever you go outside of the unmatched, unrivaled 104.5 The Zone listening area as well. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in to the discussion. Ron Slay will join us coming up in 20 minutes. I have a feeling that he is as, what's the word, out on battered Vol syndrome this week as anyone in the world.
He ain't trying to hear it.
You should be.
I know he ain't trying
Nor
to
should
hear
you.
it.
Yeah.
Nor should you.
He ain't trying to hear it at all. My boy is ready for a nice stogie, a good drink on the back porch, and a good show. That's all.
Oklahoma's not going to ruin that for him.
Brian Callahan spoke yesterday about pressure impacting Will Levis, an interesting evaluation of the offensive line as he met with the media.
Well, the pressure impacts everything about playing quarterback. I mean, that's just what it is. We've got to do a better job there. I got to do a better job of trying to help those guys as best I can with the play calls and situations we're in. End of the game when you got to throw it. I mean, here it comes, and that's just what it is. And you got to be able to handle that. And we didn't do as good a job as I think we're capable of doing, and that's an area that has to improve. I think part of that affects the quarterback as well. I mean, it's all tied together. That's why football's a great game, is that you need everybody on offense doing their job, and for everything to look the way it's supposed to. And it's hard to overcome it if every other play there's one person that doesn't do it the way that we're supposed to. And I think we have a lot of that right now that we have to keep hammering and keep fixing so we can get all 11 guys doing things consistently.
There's Brian Callahan yesterday. 11 guys doing things consistently. How close are we to this offense getting a little bit of momentum and fixing some of the just very weird and very bad? Because it feels like there's 1 or 2 players that are ruining a lot of the good, and it's not always the same player from play to play.
Last week, I think we got a glimpse of it. We did. I thought the first series, of course, was the 3 and out, but that first half of that game was one of those that Will Levis, I feel like, half full. I thought Brian Callahan's play calling had a little bit more flow to it. Also, everything that everybody had asked for last week as it pertains to, well, you got to help them out. You can't throw it on first down. They threw screens. They went deep. They attempted to roll out a few times. They did everything you wanted to. They got so many guys involved in this offense last week that you knew that Brian Callahan was in a better place, and Will Levis in the pocket was more settled. He was just dishing, however he needed to in those moments in the run game, was doing what it was supposed to. It checked every box until it didn't. So there's progress being made here. It just got overshadowed by one big moment on television that everybody saw, and there's room to grow there. Again, about a month in is where we are. We're still figuring this thing out is the way I look at it. 0-2 sucks, yes, but you got 2 games within 1 scores that you could have won. It's not like you're just getting boat race each and every weekend. Like, this defense is keeping you in. It's a matter of growth, maturity, and decision-making that has to be made by a guy that got ripped nationally in front of everybody this past Sunday, and that's Will Levis.
How quickly can they clean up some of these small mistakes that certain positions or certain players are making on any given Sunday?
It should be week to week.
It should be week to week. And guess what? We did see some of that with J.C. Latham from week 1 to week 2. So, yes, on the opposite side of the line, we saw issues from MPF, but maybe this week you see that get fixed. And you're hoping that then, you don't have another major issue with the linemen the following week. It's never going to be perfect. Consistency can't happen without everybody being perfect. But I think it does so much start with just having a little cleaner play, from Will Levis, from the offensive line. I think that's where it starts, because I think we know we like the run game, and you see really good things from it. Now, Tajay Spears is questionable of what his status will be this weekend. So there's going to be a lot more load on Tony Pollard. But defensively, I think we have seen the consistency, and that's a good thing through 2 games. I think for the most part, you can say that defense has played pretty consistent, considering the fact, they did wear down at the end of the game, guys, but that's because their offense wasn't giving them a chance to get off the field. Like, they weren't sustaining drives. So I think a lot of this lies on consistency of the offense, specifically with the line and Will Levis. And once we see some of those little mistakes get cleaned up, I think there could be some progress starting this weekend, guys. That's a big game to have an advantage in.
Yeah.
With Malik Willis coming in town. Let me tell you something, too. Those guys, they know Malik Willis is coming in town. They don't want to lose to him.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose to him.
I think something's going to happen in the NFL. I have a prediction. Over the next month, and I have a very specific reason.
What's that?
I think we are going to see significantly more illegal contact, defensive holding, and pass interference, specifically when teams are in the red zone. You want to know why? Mm-hmm. There were 17 less passing touchdowns through the first 2 weeks this season than there were last season. There have been 69 passing touchdowns, not a very nice number, for NFL quarterbacks through 2 weeks. 2 years ago, there were 105.
Dang.
When has Roger Goodell and today's NFL ever allowed the defense to have that big of an advantage and make the game less entertaining for the neutral observer without saying, hey, we need to pull this back on the other end? The NFL consistently does this. When there is any kind of advantage consistently given to defenses, they will correct back and give the offense more freedom to put points on the board, to get more people to watch, and to put more butts in the seats. This is not what anyone wants when you look at passing touchdowns going from 110 in 2021 through 2 weeks to 69 through 2 weeks in 2024.
I don't agree with that.
Why not?
Not even, because I think the quarterback play is just that bad these days, too.
Oh, I don't disagree with that either.
Yeah, I think
but they're still going to correct it.
I think it's a system issue more than anything at this point. I think you got more quarterbacks that are able to use their legs and run and get them down to the 100%. Tight red zone more than it actually is going through the air.
I'm not arguing that.
And I can't see that being the case right there more than anything this year.
But the NFL has always, when something has changed in the quarterback position or on offense, they'll say, all right, how do we score more points?
But I think that, to me, I honestly think that the game has changed. I think the defenses have adjusted to what they're allowed to do.
I agree.
And getting to the quarterback is a whole lot more prevalent than it has been. Again, I remember when it rocket shipped off as far as the amount of touchdowns that was being thrown in the defense trying to figure out how we're going to adjust. I think we've met the adjustment period right now.
I agree. But never underestimate the NFL's ability to put more points on the board.
I'm with you on that one. I agree that there's a proponent of this that says, all right, we got to keep people engaged. But the engagement can't be taken whenever the quarterback play sucks. That's just where it is.
Okay, so
and if we go back to week 1 real quick, that was a better catch than it was throw by Will Levis to Chig Okonkwo. It just was.
It was definitely a
And
better
Calvin
catch.
Ridley, yes,
Definitely.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, it's that part of it too. The quarterback play has to get better. Bryce Young, does he even have a throwing touchdown right now?
He has 0 throwing touchdowns. He got 3 interceptions.
It's bad.
So that was my question to you. So how do you see quarterback play? And I know it's only been 2 games, but how do you get quarterback play then from even some of these veteran guys that we're seeing to get better once we hit the midway point? Because I don't know if, like you said, we've ever seen it this bad out of the gates. I get the rookies, but some of these vets too.
Trevor Lawrence only has 1 on the year, too,
Exactly.
right now through 2 games. I don't know. I honestly don't have that answer. It may be schematics of what the teams are calling. Again, I do think defenses have gotten a little bit better in how they can go and approach guys. This is a different world. We're also the same way we bragged about the 7-on-7 world for college football and it's translating over to the NFL. There's also DBs in their 7-on-7 camps, too, that play a little bit better, and defenses can scheme up a little bit more. There hasn't been one defense we've seen be bad this year, and there's some bad quarterback play on both sides of the ball, and with the Jets and with the Chicago Bears at this point. So I just think defenses have caught up more than we're going to give it credit for because we all love watching points being scored.
I totally agree with everything you just said.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that the NFL won't then do something about it.
You think they're going to try to make the adjustment?
Yeah.
Starting this weekend.
I mean, look at DeAndre Hopkins getting his hair pulled in the end zone by Sauce Gardner over the weekend. I think that the NFL will see things like that and say, all right, well, we can get passing touchdowns up a little bit more if we don't let Sauce Gardner literally pull DeAndre Hopkins' hair in the end zone. And that Sauce Gardner has the reputation, right? Like when you're him as a corner, you get calls like that. Similarly to where DeAndre Hopkins got a call against the Falcons last year that probably should have been OPI, but he's DeAndre Hopkins. So it kind of goes both ways. I just think you're going to see them for about a month start to overcorrect back, and there's going to be a meeting of officials to say we need to get points up a little bit.
I'd love to see that
be
happen.
interesting
The
if
thing
that does.
too about D-Hop for me is he wasn't out there enough to work the refs. I do think Sauce has
And
a
he does
reputation.
work the refs.
The Jets also have a reputation. And I think the Titans, and I've noticed it as of late, don't get the benefit of the doubt. They just don't. And that underdog stuff that we spoke about years ago when I first got on this station, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. That's the same reason South Carolina Gamecocks are feeling the way they do about LSU.
Got to earn it.
The narrative that I saw was, we always get the squeeze. Well, it's the reputation has to change too. D-Hop can help that if he's out there more, and that may be the bigger issue that
And
we're
if the
dealing
ball's
with.
getting in his hands, even if there is a call, he's gonna get on the sideline and go at him.
DeAndre's not been on the field enough to talk to the refs.
Nope.
He's on the bench a lot to talk to his teammates. And you only have 3 targets. What's there to talk to the ref about?
And Brian Callahan said this week, he said it 2 times after the presser and then again on Monday, I have to do a better job of getting the ball to DeAndre Hopkins.
He's right.
Or we'll see. Can't overcorrect though.
No.
Never doubt. I'm not saying I would do it. Like I wouldn't go into a meeting with NFL officials and tell them to do it. The NFL has proven time and time and time again that when they have an opportunity to make the game more entertaining for offenses, they will always take it. They will always do it. I mean, the hip drop tackle is another example of that. We haven't seen that called a lot. And now that you've got Jamar Chase very publicly complaining to Alex Kemp about it on the biggest stage, which just announced that was the most watched CBS NFL game in September since 1998.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Was just announced a few minutes ago. I think you're going to start seeing more hip drop tackles, more illegal contact, more all of these things to get points up. Yeah. We'll see. Coming up, Ron Slay, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Kent State, Titans, and wherever Ron Slay wants to take us. We'll do that next. What's up? It's Will Bowling. If you know me, you know I love Whataburger. And throughout their 74-year history, Whataburger has been known for quality and big flavor. Each and every Whataburger, it's still made to order. Whether it's ordered on 100% fresh, never frozen pure beef, it's served up on a toasted 5-inch bun. The bread is always fresh. It's delivered 5 days a week to the restaurants. Vegetables are cut daily. In the mornings, the honey butter chicken biscuit. It is unbelievable. Whataburger now serving coffee as well, iced or hot. You can make it your own with sweet cream, a variety of available flavor add-ins. The hot coffee perfectly pairs with that taquito breakfast sandwich. Maybe you're needing an afternoon pick-me-up. Well, good news is the coffee, morning, noon, or night, it is available 24/7, hot or iced. Go by and see them. 16 Middle Tennessee locations. They're open 24/7, 364 days a year. That's Whataburger, just like you like it. Your Tuesday morning rolls on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW. And Tuesdays at 9:20, we are joined by Ron Slay. He is broadcast host, television's Ron Slay, tailgate host, and weekly guest on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. What's up, Slay?
He's not talking yet.
Reed didn't turn my mic on.
That's on me, Hendo.
Don't you know I'm not?
Smith
I
has
forgot that Bert was
filling
back
in
there.
for
I'm not
Bert for the final
self-sufficient
hour.
out here, man. Like I need help out here. Make it easy. I just need to sit down and talk. KK.
I thought your attorney was going to maybe say something,
you know
so
what I
I
mean?
was
But
like,
yes, man.
I had to call him out earlier for cheating on us. He in there helping on Buck's show and stuff today. I'm like, okay, all right, I see how it is. No, Reed.
Yeah, Reed will
Reed
be
like that playing around.
Reed will be there. Well, you know what I mean. You don't get. Hey, Will Lee, I see you coming on into my little territory too.
I know.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going
Look
on
at
at y'all
that.
little tailgate down there, man?
Just a little something different for the people. Without a place to park at the stadium, there's a need for a lot more tailgates to be offered. So now that there's not places for people to pitch their tents and bring out their grills and their little chandeliers, you hang down in Oxford.
That's right.
You don't go to Wake Forest games after you hang those chandeliers. But there's more need for us to be out there in the community and bring the tailgates to the people that no longer have parking spaces to have tailgates.
That's true. That's very true. And hey, listen, the mine was flooded, so shout out to him, man. It was plenty of love.
Here we go.
Well, I need to know what. Yeah, you see, I got to throw it out there.
The second I told Slay this summer I was hosting a tailgate, it was just like
yeah, okay.
like it's on, baby.
You know what I mean? KK, it's always a competition.
You walked in here like Bird, man. It came down to dress something real quick. Yeah.
I ain't gonna say it no more. I'll trio y'all in here. Hey, let me ask y'all this though, man. How was last night's event? I didn't get to hear y'all.
It was fun.
I didn't get to hear y'all this morning on the 6th. Yeah.
It was awesome, man. Jeff, he threw a real
Jeffrey
cool
Simmons.
event. Jeffrey Simmons threw a real cool event, man.
The little petite crab cakes at Hall's Chop House. They hate to see me coming.
Yeah.
I know a crab cake hates to see me coming.
Like SpongeBob and that
So
thing.
It was good. Give him a reason as his foundation, and this is really the first time that he's taken this on, and that was the first big event.
Yeah.
But
that's dope.
I thought it went well, and Ramon even kind of talked to him afterwards. We got a picture with him. He said, let's keep growing this.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Like as many ways he wants to be entrenched in Nashville.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, and he's trying to make any way he can. And again, I hope he doesn't overexpose himself as far as how people come to him about doing events, but he wants to be here in this city, and he's very appreciative and thankful for it, man. Last night donned all white on him.
Yeah. I seen y'all picture. I was like, okay, big fella.
Yeah.
That's how you come through right there.
The Louis Cologne, man. I met his mom as he came on here. She sounded like my mom. I had to meet the legend. I had to meet the legend. You know what I'm saying? Mrs. Simmons, man.
A single parent raising 5 kids growing up in Mississippi.
What it's about.
It was cool, man. Real cool event. I'm looking forward to seeing it grow.
He gave a speech at the end?
Yeah.
He talked about it.
We even had a guy who tried to ruin the event that was clearly intoxicated on the sidewalk.
Up and down Broadway.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't intoxicated.
He just don't think he was intoxicated.
He saw a lot of good folks having a good time.
And just said, want to be that guy.
Oh my gosh. He said, I hope y'all get y'all beat in there. And I was just like, oh, you got the right crowd.
Yeah,
Come on.
I promise you.
Come on, I swear you can walk in here.
I'm gonna be all the way honest. When you run up on me and my little party, I keep a fool with me. I'm just gonna let y'all know
Do
that.
you
out
see
there.
the man with the mic right now?
See a little dude that's hiding over there in the shadows. I keep a fool with me, y'all. I want y'all to know. He ain't affiliated with me, associated with me, but he always nearby.
I promise you, I couldn't
people that
wait.
want to run around like that.
And found out I played against his uncle, man, Jason Hatcher. Actually played, he was in the building last night, too.
Grambling State's
Yeah, that's his mama's brother. So Jeff had the ties already to it,
hey,
man.
dog, that's what it's about, dog. It's those intimate type of events that gets you entrenched.
It does.
Into the city and whatever you're trying to do, and a different type of respect, too. So salute to him, man. I knew that
was there,
good.
too, supporting.
Yeah,
showed up.
I know he was. Arden always looked like he ready to have a good time, man.
With that smile.
That smile will do it, boy.
Yes.
That smile will do it. He looked like he ready to have a good time, man. Coast to coast, man. If I had to get somebody that I was like, man, you know what? I I'll go have a night with them, man. Let me go kick it with them one time. Ard, I might pick Ard. I think Ard would be the one. Yeah, no doubt about it, man.
Mix of a guy who played college football in Louisiana and is from Atlanta.
Oh, my.
Boy,
it's a wrap.
It's over.
I had to get to the bottom of something,
That's
too,
a heck
last
of a mix,
night.
man.
I heard Kayla bring it up on the pregame with Brad, Buck, Blaine, and herself, right? And I was like, hey, man, is that you in that Porsche? He was like, man, my tall blank can't get in no Porsche. It was like, it wasn't me. I was like, it is a bad boy on game day. Got a big old spoiler on the back. You hear it before you see it.
Okay.
And I thought that was art and style. It's like, no, I can't fit in that one. I was like, me either.
Yeah. But you expected them to come through like that.
Yeah, I expect Harden to come through like that.
I can dig it.
Slade, Tennessee and Oklahoma is not just another football game, and there's nothing wrong with that.
At all.
It also doesn't mean that Tennessee fans should be sitting here shivering like, oh, we got to go on the road.
No.
Nico's got to, what if he throws it? No, I think there is a confidence and a poise and a swagger to Josh Heupel that we have not seen before. And I know you guys have been talking about it since July when you talked to him on and off air about his defense at SEC Media Days.
Yeah.
That there's a confidence to Josh Heupel that is new this year. And I think you're going to see it in a big way on Saturday.
Man, you know what? Ever since I had the opportunity to get behind the mic and start talking, like, this is the thing. I'm going to always say this. You are a reflection of your players, and your players are a reflection of you. I mean, all you got to do is just go and look. Believe what your eyes are showing you, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason he's walking around this way. It's a reason Nico acts this way. I mean, you saw glimpses of it when Heupel had Hendon Hooker going into Hendon's second year. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? After the first year, everybody was in, oh, man, this is amazing, dude. They can score all these points. And Heupel just calmly going on through it, and it resonated with Hendon. Hendon was the same way. Go through these big games, never wavering, showing. And I think that's one thing with Hendon that he had to do as far as getting him to come out of his shell and show his emotion. And you kind of see that a little bit with Nico. You know what I mean? Letting him know, like, man, you can go celebrate with Jimmy. You ain't got to run straight over here to the iPad. You know what I mean? Go have a good time, dog. You're a kid, too. Love the game you playing. But this is the thing that I think that gets lost. When you talk about this level of confidence, it's supposed to be that way. Reason being, y'all talked about it earlier. I was listening. You got a 5-star guy that came in. All of this acclaim. So any one of us in this room right here, you're a 5-star, and I tell you, all right, at the end of your year, end of your school year, as a high school senior, I want you to come enroll in the university. So you're going to go through all bowl practices, all the rest of the end of the season, all season workouts. You're going to be in the pads, all of this. Wow. Also, if you take 5 months back, after your games, I want you to come in to every single game while we're rolling like this. With Hendon Hooker, with all this acclaim, with the fireworks, with the transition that the university is going through, and you get to see this while walking through this. This is a fast track to now, all right, now you get there with Joe Milton. We're going to rest you. We're going to let you sit back and watch this too. Now you just saw all of that hoopla and everything that Hendon was going through, talking about Heisman, talking about this team could be top 5, this, that, and the other, and you saw it all collapse and then have to build it back up, and you saw what Joe Milton went through. So you had to sit and watch this as well. Dang, they'll crucify you too on the slick. You know what I mean? If you don't get out there and deliver like the person before you did. So while that was going on, those shoes became a little bit smaller because Joe put his big old foot in it. You know what I'm saying? So they had to go get some new shoes, let them come in. Now you walking in with a guy with 3 years of experience in a sense. Oof. You know what I'm saying? That's a 5-star guy that has it. So when him and Arch Manning do these things when they get the opportunity to go out there and play, it shouldn't be a surprise if you really that guy. You've been tabbed as that guy. We talk about it all the time. When you get that tab on you, it's hard to get it off of you. Yeah. You got to go do something really dumb or really just mess up to get it off of you. That's just what it is. Dating all the way back to when the guys were the guys. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is in any sport. So when he walks around and he has that kind of confidence, if you see that with him, what you think Heupel was doing them 3 years?
I know I got one.
Mm-hmm. Sitting there focusing on just Hendon, focusing on just Joe Milton? Or was he saying when they went out and was getting ready to, after they did the Maxim, you don't think he was putting his arm around Nico like, this It's going to be yours in about 2 years, big fella. You ready for it? You ready for it? Yeah. Talking to his daddy. Hey, keep him close. His dad was on the sidelines during games.
Yeah, he was.
His son wasn't playing yet, people. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, this is all a culmination of what was built behind the scenes. Now we get to see it. So when you walk around and Hyper doing this, they done talked about them plays.
Yeah.
This is when Arch takes off running for a 70-yard scramble. They already saw this. We didn't. You know what I'm saying? They know what it is, man. When you got it, you was trying to describe it. You look at it. That's all you got to do. Just look at it. It's right there.
Yeah.
And
it's right there.
they're already planning for the future.
Come on, man.
That's the other thing. It's like, because when we think Nico's going to go on at some point, we're already stockpiling.
Yeah. KK, it don't happen overnight.
It doesn't.
Right.
That's all I'm saying now.
Hasn't, yeah.
We was able to see them catch lightning in a bottle in year one. But what was supposed to happen with Hypo in year two with Hendon happened. Let's give them some weapons. Let's get some explosive plays. Let's get it going. Now let's focus on the running game. You started to run around with as many people as you got as talented in that wide receiver room. That's just as many as you got in the running back room as well. And you starting to go get these big dogs up front. You know it ain't going no. That was the first thing I told Savage. Man, we do not look. Forget what we got on the outside.
Said it.
We do not look like a SEC team in the trenches when we 100%. Play Bama and Georgia and all these guys. That has changed. It's different. Not only with the first string, but the people that's coming up behind them and the recruits. Like, it's different, man. This is what it looks like. So you can't be surprised too much. You know what I mean? We as a fan base can because we can't get behind the curtain to see it. You know what I'm saying? But they seen it. That's why Hyper, when we asked him about it, man, put his head down and kind of smirked like, man, y'all don't understand what we was going through. Nobody did because all we get to see is the surface. You know what I mean? Like, if you can mask that, they was able to mask that for so long. Now they're able to run out and get now. Just heard Austin Price come in here and talk about he got elite corners.
Jerron McCoy stopped the slant on Saturday.
The last time we heard, weren't they trying to fix the secondary?
Since Cam Sutton, they've not had one.
It's like, dog, okay, all right.
And Cam was good.
Good.
Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley are NFL quarterbacks since then.
Now.
And they had the same position coach as what all these guys have right now, too, and Willie Martinez.
Hey, man, it's different when you doing the work in silence. And now I keep on going back to it like it was a laughing matter 2-3 years ago when they said the culture was changing. People were going to film. People were holding each other accountable. It was all laughing, man. They walking up the steps looking like they holding hands. It was funny. Until it wasn't.
Until it ain't. And now they consider one of those teams.
Come on, man.
I honestly, let me change gears just to move
you take it
lanes
real
quick. I don't want to put you in the corner on nothing, but I got people hitting me up.
What they talking about?
I have folks hitting Will up. I have folks tweeting at me. Kayla, I'm sure they done hollered at you too a time or two. And they keep asking. We brag about Nico, but what about the one on Sundays here in Nashville?
Yeah.
I know you got something for this evening, right? Now I don't want to take 3HL away from you, but Will Levis, we've had folks ask us. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. The Nathaniel tag, man, it's hard to carry over. It's hard to carry over, and I got right behind us. I got a Nathaniel watch list, man, that goes up every week.
He ain't on that right now.
Nah, he ain't on there. No, they ain't on there. I'm just saying, like
Jerry Jones is.
Yeah, Jerry Jones is on.
He's been on mine too for a while.
You gotta be careful, KK. Your resume is always under review. I'm just saying, like, there was a lot going on this weekend, and it was crowded. The stadium was packed. All these tailgates. That's why I asked Will Lee about this tailgate. I know it was packed, and people could camouflage in with all the Jets fans that was coming down here.
It was
plenty of them, Savage. Plenty of them. Like, I remember when I just got there at the end of the first quarter, and then the flick play came up. Air quotations. The flick play with Will flicking the ball, and it was only two people left. And then when they got up, they had like a black jersey on, white stripes on it, and last name, it just said Natalie on one, and one that said Nate. So I'm like, dang, where they going? Who are they? You know what I mean? Like, I know if Natalie and Nate ever had a baby, probably, it would be a Nathaniel. So, no, you know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, darn that I stored that in my memory bank, let that go on.
Didn't
leaving.
register at the time.
Yeah, it didn't register at the time, Savage.
Yeah.
I just remember the play. I'm like, dang, that's weird that they would leave there. Did they give up on them? You know what I mean? What was that? But I did come to find out that the Nathaniel watch list has scouts. They go to these different games, you know what I'm saying? And they do they just do, you know. So I was waiting on Savage after the game down by the Bridge building. You know, I had some cool little bottles he had got at the little auction. Shout out to the Little Truckers for Cure.
Yep.
I gave him the bottles and I was like, all right, I'm gonna cut around because you know the traffic a little weird.
Very bad.
I shot through downtown, you know what I mean? Just happened to be going past the courthouse, saw them same two.
Natalie
and Nate
were
coming
together.
out the courthouse
on Sunday.
They
opened it up.
They opened it, coming out the courthouse with the manila folder. I couldn't see the name, so I'm like, what do you go to courthouse for? You go to divorces, annulments, like
marriage too, right?
Yeah, adoption. Yeah, like
sure.
You feel what I'm saying? So I don't know if they were signing papers for someone, you know what I mean, to try to put them as, you know what I mean, they trying to get they want to be, you know,
a whole family.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
You know, but I was like, you know, I'm going to wait. Yeah, I do got some reps down there at the courthouse, though, so I'm going to try to do some digging to see what kind of papers they were signing. Yeah, if they trying to get the rights to a Nathaniel or something. So it was weird seeing them there, seeing them lead the game after the flick play, trying to put all that together.
So there's something to it. There might be something
It was
to
wild.
it.
It was wild. But I did have Aaron Rodgers on the watch list, too, so they could have been scouting him. So I don't know.
Fair enough.
I know it's, you know, two quarterbacks is, you know, it get a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to bring it to the flick. They did leave after the flick. They could have stayed.
Okay.
Could have saw a good game, but I just kind of, you know, roll with that. But
Nathaniel
just keep your
My
eyes
tailgate is
peeled,
over
man.
near the courthouse, so I'm going to have to watch closely next time.
That's what eyes open, Willie.
I can apply to be a part-time scout for Nathaniel watches, so
man,
I'll be on the lookout.
Be careful, man. I hope, and you know, a phrase that always comes out when Nathaniels are born is, what the F are you doing?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you got to be careful.
Don't tell Ryan Fitzpatrick that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So that's like the phrase that pays. When they spank the baby, that's usually what comes behind. Like, what are you doing?
That's what Boo Carter's been calling B2A
yes,
recently.
Absolutely.
We'll let you look up what that means. Coming up, there is a little bit of news from Tennessee athletics this morning, and something that Danny White has done to make Tennessee be a bit more on the cutting edge, but it's going to maybe hurt your pocketbooks.
Uh-oh.
A little bit, if you're a Tennessee football fan. We'll react to that with Ron Slate coming up next.
Hey, it's Kayla Anderson for my friends at We Grow Hair, and just hopped in there actually last weekend. Speaking of Slay Dogs in the studio, we were both there hanging with our friends at PAI, We Grow Hair. I think it's simple for people to assume sometimes that we don't lose our hair when we get older. Yeah, we do. Whether you're a woman or a man, you look in the mirror one day, you may be spotting some loss of the hair up front. That's when you usually see it. At least for me, I did. And you don't want to keep doing that because you lose up to 50% of your hair before you even notice it. So you can try to get ahead of it if you want to. They've got plenty of treatments there. The PRP platelet-rich plasma treatment, I've done that a couple times. That will help with growth over probably the next 3 months. I'll see even more hair growth. FDA-approved laser therapy, that's something that I'm doing almost 2 times a week, and I'm continuing to see my hair restored. Their trademarked hair transplant, maybe you need more of a result. That procedure gives you 3 times more hair in just one procedure. This is cutting edge technology. You can't get it online, and they've been doing it for almost 30 years. They'll get you a treatment plan that works for you. So don't wait. Go to wegrowhair.com and schedule a free evaluation today. Simply call them at 615-376-6010. 615-376-6010, and you can also go to wegrowhair.com. Tell them that Kayla sent you.
RKW, Ramon, Kalen, Will, wrapping up the show on 104.5 The Zone. Always appreciate our visits with Ron Slay on Tuesdays. A little bit of news this morning coming out in the last hour. Tennessee is raising the price of football season tickets by 10%, and they are adding what they are calling a talent fee. And Danny White is essentially said, as expenses grow, our expenses have to grow. 4.5%, the average per seat increase. So 10% and a different number, but 4.5% per seat. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't have a big issue with this because this is the price of getting better and having the wait list you have for tickets and the resale prices. I don't know if y'all have looked on Vivid Seats and Ticketmaster or whatever your pleasure is on how expensive those are. Yeah, I get it.
Man, listen. 2 ways to look at this thing, and I'm looking at them both ways. One, it paid to play with the big boys.
Yes, it does.
It's what it is. You've been down and out so long, and you've been asking, man, what can we do? Tell us what we'll do. Tell us what we can do. We'll make something happen. Well, all right. Say that louder then. I got something for you to do with it. The other end of it, man, if I can't already afford the tickets, and now if it goes up a little bit more with the increase, y'all can catch me at the tailgate. I'm straight. Listen, I promise. Cool. I'm gonna tell you this about a college atmosphere, man. Yeah. If you're not in the stadium for the game and you just in the vicinity, you're at the game. Yeah. Man. The roar of the crowd, the highlights, all these jumbotrons that they got in these huge I promise you can watch it right there too, man. And you're not gonna feel like you're not a part of the game. And you're gonna get lucky. Call 104.5 The Zone. I promise you, all day long, we're gonna get you some tickets to the game. But this is what I'm telling you. Just get there. Mm-hmm. Just get there. And don't nobody mind when the team is winning, you walking up on their tailgate and saying, hey, man, can I chill with y'all?
Oh, come on down.
Hell yeah, come on. What you drinking?
Let me get your plate.
Dude, this is it.
Beer or whiskey.
Man, this is part of it, man. I'm telling you, any of these colleges you go to, Ohio State, you go to Georgia, you go to Alabama, Tennessee, not like Florida. Like you go to these teams when they popping, man, it's 10-mile radius any which way. Yeah. It's on.
So the talent fee is 10% of it, and then it's 4.5% per seat. So I was right the first time. Georgia did this 2 weeks ago.
I get it. Guys, you can do it down here. If anywhere you can do it down here, I have no problem with it. When you're popping and you want to continue to pop, you don't want to be a colonel at some point. You want to keep popping, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to keep doing this, and you got to do it to bring the athletes in. Get creative.
You do.
They're ahead of the game.
You do.
Tennessee is ahead of the game, just like a lot of the teams down here in the South are ahead of the game.
You do.
I have no issue with it.
Danny White is a nice one because it was years before I figured out what in the hell a stadium fee was in my NFL check. It's like, why in the hell we getting charged a stadium fee? We get water for free in this thing. Like, why is this coming out of my check? It took me years to understand. Look, it's the price of doing business, man. You see these workers around here? Stadium fee.
Everybody got to get it, man.
Back parking lot, you get the parking, stadium fee. It's like, God.
Like all these little amenities that's running around.
It was years. I still don't know exactly what stadium fee was. So at least you know it's going to the city. I just knew I had to pay. Hell, Danny White is nice to y'all.
He's so smart.
I ain't have a clue. Still, I feel like they still owe me.
They ain't got a little something over the top.
Can I write that off?
And pretty soon, we're not that far away from arena fee. Inside a team that just made the Elite Eight last year. We're really not far away. We're about a month away from Tennessee basketball.
Get the days.
But for the rest of us.
Count down.
Hey, boy, and they hot on a little behind the scenes.
They had a couple of 5-stars in town over the weekend.
Why you hesitate?
I know. Hot on the recruiting.
2 5-stars in town for Kent State. They could have put those 5-stars out there at left and right tackle. They probably still would have won by 50.
Kind of hot right now. They're working.
They working?
They working.
See, when
he's giving us he's got some information. Just like last year, you had this smirk on your face.
I'm just saying they working, boy. They working, man. It's good to see, boy.
By the way, I got to give you a second to put her up there. Asia Wilson.
Dog. Told everybody, like, I understand, man, like, it's people that are going to move the needle, and there's people that, just going to be thrust into that spot, and there's people that has just worked and worked and worked and worked that deserve that. Asia Wilson deserves every bit of it. Every bit of. She ain't loud about it or anything. It's a watch me work situation. Let her teammates and her play speak for her. Man, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese was coming into the league. Continue to say, man, watch Asia Wilson. This girl's unstoppable. This woman is unstoppable, man. Oh, my goodness.
Like, they giving her the ball and everything, but she deserves to have the ball in her hand.
Man, dog.
She put on the masterclass this
I'm
past
watching
Sunday.
her play any single time. I'm paying to go watch her play everything. Like, she's it.
Slay, at what point do we put Anthony Richardson on the Nathaniel watch?
Yeah, so he's creeping around. Like, he made a pass in that week 1 loss that I was really, really impressed with when you start to see the talent. But then it's like he come back and play like this, and it's like what? But then at the same time, it's just like what we talked about with Tennessee and Arch Manning and all it. We've seen it. Mm-hmm. Like, this is who they are. Regardless of how the media or the fan base or whatever it is builds them up, they are who they are, man. Like, you can't change them. So I always make it, man, like you had to have been a little something before you can be a Nathaniel. That's why, unless you get adopted.
That's when Natalie and Nate come.
They
So Trevor Lawrence might have a better chance of being Nathaniel.
Yeah, great chance.
Slay, that's why half these quarterbacks they get drafted in the first round, particularly they see little glimpses of hope that they can fix.
Yep.
You cannot fix that necessarily.
That's tough, man.
You get Ron Slay 3 to 6 every weekday on 3HL. You get a great tailgate at the Titans VIP tailgate as well that he hosts every Titans home game.
We'll be unselfish and plugging the homie, man.
Hey, family's family. Come on, what are we doing?
Family's family.
I like this competition.
Everybody eats, and you eat really well if you tailgate with me or Slay before Titans games. Ramon, send us some.
Y'all know how it goes, man. Watch out for Natalie and Nate, man. At the same time, your Twitter fingers and Mike always hot. If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait, y'all. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for the treatment. For the established patients with stable T levels, they also offer convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come in for the weekly visits. And at Low T Center, your BMI health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.